Hello, good people. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another Blue Morning Show on Chelsea Perspective. I hope we're all recovering well from what we all witnessed yesterday. A few of us I know chose not to watch it, but if you watch it, yeah, I feel sorry for you as much as I feel sorry for myself. But I hope we're all recovering well. We're going to talk about the game today. Why do the players they looked why they looked disinterested, why it is showing that they are low in confidence and lots of stuff. Why is the situation as it is right now? So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, keep dropping the likes on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes that do go a long way. We don't have too many people in the chat. Let me see who we have here. And this is Sunny Evenings. Good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon to you too, Sunny. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for finding the time to join in the show. I know this is not easy to do, especially today, a day after we lost 3-1 to our biggest London rivals. Smash the like button, Bobby says. Yes, people keep smashing the like button and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We have good morning, coach. I trust you and your family are doing great. I am doing well, brother. A lot of people miss all. I hope you and yours are also doing well. Thank you so much for asking that question. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna coughing a lot. I don't know what my boy got from daycare. Also, this says yeah, hello, Chichilla, hello to you, to Constantine Dante. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. It's that time of the day, the hour, however you want to say it. But thank you all for finding the time to join in the show. I sincerely do hope we're all recovering, well from what we witnessed yesterday. Big up to you too, Kashan. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. We're getting to it right away. I have Tobejo, my bro from Madiba Land on the panel. Tobejo, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly now. I hope that's the case. Then we have Bobby joining us too. Welcome everybody on the panel. Here we have, I told you we will get a span to at least Madike got a stand in. We won. It felt like a win. The key was at least you could say one of the only positives on the day. There aren't too many. I think maybe the only positive on the day. Coach, I wish we had a player as dedicated as you are. Here's the thing. One thing I'm going to say, and I want us to start on that note. Here's the thing. The truth is this: these players aren't that bad. They're not the best, but they aren't that bad. But the more important thing to bear in mind is that they've lost 6 games in a row. Yeah, we didn't even see a new manager bounce after Graham Potter was fired. We didn't see a new manager bounce, and that's down to a lot of factors. So it's not just the players, it's not just the managers, it's not just the owners. The issue is everywhere. So it's something we have to take our time to look into. But I want us to start today by talking about the fact is the players we have can actually match Arsenal, pace for pace, skill for skill. But let's not even go into the fact that you can argue the team isn't well coached, not well drilled, not well prepared for the game. That's another issue. But more importantly, no matter how this team is prepared, they are low on confidence. That they're shockingly low on confidence. And like I've said even before that game, my biggest concern is the fact that after losing 5 games in a row, losing the next one is just like this. Same thing, vice versa. After winning 5 games in a row, winning the next one is just like this. And when you're low on confidence, you would take some drastic measure, either clearing out the whole player or changing the manager immediately for you to see something different. It's concerning. I saw the way they were playing, the lack confidence, even before we considered we couldn't string passes to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 passes together without seeing a mistake. Even our best players were struggling on the day. So it's the issue. This is no time to start saying it's just the players, it's just the manager. I don't blame Frank Lampard that much as long as I don't think he's not a good manager. He had
You blame him.
probably deep down believed he can help us. But yeah, he isn't good enough. It's as simple as that. But the issue simply is everywhere. I'm going to start with Tabejo. Let me ask you now. Let's talk about the players' confidence because that's a huge problem. Because this squad, no matter how you see it, they are this set of players. They're capable of doing better than producing the sort of performance we saw yesterday against Arsenal. You don't even need to go too far backwards. Just compare the performance of the team yesterday and how they performed on the ground, Potter. It's a confidence thing. But I want to get your thoughts. What do you make of the confidence of the players right now?
To be honest, the confidence of the players at the moment are too low. But again, we have a bunch of kids that are new to Chelsea, and we have some experienced players. I would say like Sterling, Koulibaly, Thiago Silva. They've been through a lot. But again, those kids need direction from these old players. For example, Sterling need to lead by example every time he plays. But he's been one of the worst players for Chelsea, even about confidence. I never wanted him at Chelsea, but again, I'm gonna support him because he's at Chelsea, because I love the club. Also, at the moment, I see only one player that is confident, maybe two. Enzo Fernandez, but now it's slow. Mudryk always when he plays now, you can see there's energy there. He wants to play every time, but again, Frank Lampard, he bench him all the time. I don't understand why. You saw yesterday, the time he came in, you can see the energy from that side. Even Noni, he can play, but again, if these kids they don't get game time, they won't do anything. Also, about the setup, Frank Lampard is an awful coach, but again, you need to set up the team to protect them. Let us lose 1-0, it's fine, or 2-0, it's fine, but not the way we played yesterday because there were so many gaps. Arsenal was toying around us, was having fun around us. So playing 4-3-3 for me without knowing the principle of it is criminal. So, man. And the other thing, coach, I mentioned it yesterday. You will see the next game against Bournemouth. It's going to change the system again. Every game, it changes the system. So how are we going to be consistent? How are we going to protect players? Players are going to be confused because this game we're going to play 4-3-3. Next game we're going to play 3-4-3. Other game we're going to play 4-5-2. No. Sometimes, man, these coaches are not helping also.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he didn't help with the. I was as much as I liked the lineup, I was concerned with the structure because when was the last time we played with a 4-3-3 structure and it worked? If go back to even under Thomas Tuchel, it hasn't really worked. We've always looked confused, if anything, and that was my only issue yesterday. Was one of my biggest issue during the that I talked about during the pregame show was the structure. But we have to talk about it. It's easy to start saying it's just the players, and it's easy to say the same players on the Thomas Tuchel, the same players on the ground, but the same players on the Frank Lampard. I get it. We didn't see the spirit, but if we're being truthful to ourselves, the players look downcast. They look like they're lost. They look like they've given up. They look like they don't have even a pint of confidence, and that's no surprise. Losing in 9 attempts, we haven't won a single game. That can hit anybody's confidence real hard no matter how good you are. Even some players have been performing. Enzo Fernandez has been one of the better players of late. He's even Kovacic looked like he's still learning how to. He was clueless, not sure what to do with the ball. He's actually been one of the players that does play no matter how you press us. He didn't play. It's everywhere. Ben Chilwell always up, going back, never even makes an attempt to take on his man. But here's the thing: I'm not here to isolate a player's any individual player's performance. The truth is, the team overall looked downcast. They looked no confidence at all. They looked like if they came into the game bearing in mind this is going to be another loss. And make no mistake, as much as they look that way, it's the manager's fault. It is the manager's job to find a way to motivate them, or if anything, give the younger players who look more hungry, because the younger players in the team, they look more hungry. Head Gallagher all you like, at least you can see him fight, run, try his best. He made a difference when he came on, even though that wasn't good enough. Look at Mudryk, look at Nani Madueke. Those are the kids are the ones making the difference, and yet you don't want to give them the opportunity to come in and try to help us to win. You keep fielding the more experienced players who they've looked like they've come to the to the conclusion that it's over. Why waste my time?
We seen this last time with Frank too when he was here. When things weren't going well, he just went to the veterans that he benched before, and he thought that they were going to work for him, but they didn't.
And it didn't work.
They didn't like him.
Yeah,
and he comes back to the club.
I'll come to you, David. Let's take it. Yeah, go ahead. Let's take it how we let's take it one by one how we join the panel. I want to go, Bobby. Let me know if you're ready to speak, or should I move to the next person? Your thoughts? Why are the players so low on confidence? Because the truth remains, I get it, they're not the best. We would have preferred to have maybe other players in the team, but the truth remains, that team, no matter if you bring Pep Guardiola, their work has to start. They have to start from the basics, which is trying to motivate the players. It doesn't look like these players are motivated anymore. It looks like they're just seeing the season as if it's over. But your thoughts, why are the players so low on confidence? And this is not the first time. All the games we've lost, you can say, it's even the ones we played well at one point, you see them give up. Like sometime in the game, you see them, their body language reflects the fact that they're seeing this one as it's ended. Why push for more? But your thoughts, Bobby?
Yeah, there are many reasons here. I believe that the youngsters are the ones that have the fight, they have the desire, they have the hunger. And I don't buy this lack of confidence talk. I don't buy it at all. And the reason why I don't buy it is because this has been going on for a while. The conditioning of the players is not helpful. Injuries throughout the season to certain players returning hasn't helped. But ultimately, despite all the other problems that have led to this, on the day, it was down to Lampard and his selection. There's no running away from that. Before the game, we spoke about putting 5 men in midfield to make everything compact. He played 4-3-3 and opened everything up with players that were lethargic. I never see the sense in playing Aubameyang. Lots of people talk about Aubameyang. Aubameyang has never given a good performance since he's come to Chelsea. What's the point? You have Detro Fofana not even on the bench, and you're playing Aubameyang. That was a lazy tactical approach by Lampard, using those players he knew and those he knew of, and he thought it would work for him. I told you before the game that it was a gamble, and it was a bad gamble. Those players aren't bad. I don't believe for 1 minute Chelsea has bad players, especially amongst the youth ranks. Not talking about the likes of Sterling, who's obviously a bad player.
There are some exceptions, obviously.
I never wanted him in the first place. Kovacic is disappointing. I think he's deceived us for a long time. He doesn't have impact, and every now and then he comes up with this sort of fictitious dribbling. but he's not fooling anybody. He's ineffective. The attacks always broke down with Sterling. Aubameyang wasn't interested. No tackles, no effort, no running. He was just walking around the pitch until he was taken off. So it was no surprise that it was Madueke that scored, and it was no surprise that the dynamics of the game changed when Modric came on. These are, you see, football is a very simple, straightforward game in many ways. You just use common sense. One thing
Just
you
quickly,
can't.
just quickly, when you talk about common sense, that brings to mind what does Frank Lampard need to know, need to see to recognize that really he needs to be starting Modric. But that's not the first. This is
Coach,
like the third time that he's come off the
coach,
bench and showed that he should have started. But go ahead.
coach, there's a lot of hype in football. People hype people up. Frank Lampard is not an intelligent man. That his lack of intelligence is evident, because if he was an intelligent man, he wouldn't do certain things that he does. When he managed Chelsea the first time, it was the youth that made it successful for him when he didn't have a transfer budget. Why didn't he go back to that? Yes, I understand many of these kids have just come into the country, just come to the team, and so on. But that doesn't mean to say they can't play. They want to play, and they're doing better than the established players. I mean, the ridiculous thing he did at one point took off Wesley Fofana and brought on Chalobah. I mean, it was just senseless. Badiashile was just there, and I just feel, and as I told you yesterday, you have no midfield, you're vulnerable. The first goal, midfield porous, empty, Odegaard all the time in the world to take a shot. No threat. It's
Nobody
him.
close him up.
Yeah, it's him. The second goal, that lack of fight. You've got no real fighters in there. Okay, you can say it was a bit clumsy at the back. Okay, and another thing, Kepa. Let's be honest. He never comes to collect a cross, never, because he's not capable of it. He stands on his goal line and is surprised when the opposition have a free shot and score. Look, there's a lot to do at the team, but yet there isn't that much to do, if you know what I mean. There's a lot
Hmm.
to do in terms of changing personnel. I can name at least 9 players off the top of my head that need to go, and they're not our best players either. But then it's simple. Somebody needs to come in and organize a team. The team is begging for a good manager. That's all. That's
We
all
have
it is. The
no good
team,
coaching at all, if we're being honest. That's
exactly.
and I don't blame Frank Lampard. He was called, asked if I don't know whether he contacted the club or whether the club reached out to him and asked him if he wants to be the interim manager. There's no way to tell,
Frank,
but it
Frank,
hasn't really worked. As much as we think the players haven't been performing as expected, lots of the blame also has to go. Lots of the blames have to go to the manager himself. It doesn't look like we don't play like a well coached team. You
no,
see so many things like I think Eunice did say it. We have even we can change to whatever formation we want, but he hasn't seen any system in terms of the way we apply ourselves on the pitch. Go ahead if you will say something, Bobby.
yeah, I mean, Frank is not a manager. He's an assistant and a pundit. That's all. He should have
Yeah.
spent time assisting one of the big names, because he lacks the intelligence, he lacks the instinct. I mean, those of us watching from afar, we don't take these guys for training every day. We watch from afar and we see things that he's not seeing. Why is that? It's because he lacks the imagination. His head is all about what he thinks the players should be.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
stubborn.
to put so much faith in Aubameyang and Sterling. Remember before the game that we spoke about it. I was like, crikey, what is this guy doing? And well, so that's it. That's where we are. I'm just praying. I mean, I was on a space yesterday. They said, oh, well, it'd be difficult to get relegated and all that. Honestly, I'm just praying we survive and stay in the Premier League, to be honest.
Because it can still happen.
Well, you know, many people think it can't. It seems unlikely because of the games of the people. And I don't know. I don't even want to think about it, to be honest. All I'm just saying is I want us to survive because I'm telling you, the way it's going, I can't see any win at all. Not with Lampard, not with anybody. You know, the players are down, yes, but these players, these are winners. They have a mentality. You can see it. They're not there to just give up. And if
Yeah.
they're organized and given direction, even in 1 week's training, you would see a difference. What happened yesterday was a calamity. There was no organization. You go 4-3-3 against Arsenal, really? I mean, come on. Come on, you go there and do what they don't want you to do. Instead, he went there and did everything they wanted him to do. Then he turns around and tells the media, oh, we were too nice. Well, surprise, surprise.
Mhm. All right, let me catch up with the chat. Keshawn, I'll come back to you in a bit to hear your 2 cents with regards to the players looking disinterested, if that's how you want to see it, or maybe the lack of confidence there. Sterling again, hopeless. I hate to isolate the performance of any single individual player, but Sterling was awful. Occasions where we had counter-attacking opportunities, he wasn't able to pass the ball. It's in Frank for starting them. It's everywhere. I mean, the issue is just more than one thing. But we get to that in a bit. Constantine Dante, thank you for that. Madriga's performance was a positive. You could say the only positive in that game. Players are not playing bad. We just need them to work together. The problem is so bad. It's difficult to put a finger on one thing and say that's the only issue. It's everywhere. But yeah, we know the root of the whole thing, and we'll talk about it in a bit. The ship has not sailed yet. We won the second half. Well, that shows you the right people didn't start. Those people should have started from the onset.
I'm so
I
sorry
don't
to
know
cut in,
what.
Coach. Coach, please, please. All these people that said we did so well in the second half, crikey. Arsenal were 3-0 up. They were toying with us in the second half. They started resting players. So please, let's not go there. They were resting players. You know, they're
Yeah.
taking off, took off Saka, took off, what's the Ukrainian guy, kid. They were resting them for the next game. So it wasn't that we did so well, it was that they took their foot off the pedal.
Mhm. The ship has not sailed yet. Yeah, I wouldn't say that too. I think it was a bad performance overall. Frank drills the players. I think about a pride for badge and winning mentality, but they just stare at him and a shrug. We need more than just a winning mentality. Even if you don't have a structure and a system, and if you're not tactically sound, you're not going to get anything out of a game. You just end up, even if they showed fight and were not tactically prepared, they still overcome it. Something Mikhail said yesterday that Arteta knows Frank very well. He knows he struggles to set up his team to be defensively solid. He knew. Look at if you watch, see how you prepare a team. If you watched how Arsenal played, they knew they were going to find space right outside our box. They knew that from time. Odegaard wasn't standing there by accident. They've studied our games, they've watched the videos and realized, like I've always said, and I think Roger, someone else who's also said that severally, that as good as we are, that's let's say specifically in games that we've played well, going forward offensively, our sixes struggle to protect our defense. They don't do much to protect our defense, and that gets worse when you don't have hit Koulibaly or you love him. Whenever he's on the pitch, he usually reads the game so well that he actually operates more. Again, plays the role of a six and also a center back whenever he's on the pitch because he reads the game so well. You'd see him in the midfield area breaking up plays while you have Enzo Fernandez and Mateo Kovacic is not too sure what to do.
Yeah, like Rudiger.
So that's
used
why
to
when
do
Koulibaly
that.
isn't on the pitch, hit him or you love him, it gets worse because Thiago Silva doesn't operate like Koulibaly does. He doesn't.
No.
he doesn't move to the center area. Even though he reads the game so well, there's something that he does even better than Koulibaly, like underline clearance and all these things. But Koulibaly has showed us that we don't have that six. We don't have any of the 2 sixes doing enough to protect the defense, because that's modern football. The defense starts from the midfielders, but they hardly do that. Our midfielders still go wherever the direction the ball goes, with like primary school students do, and then leaving us vulnerable. And Arsenal studied that quite well, and they knew, Odegaard knew the space will always be there, which was why I called for Kante to play deep. I would have loved him to play deeper rather than play wherever he's on the right-hand side where he started yesterday. Even Zakaria on occasion have showed us how sixes should be operating. You should read the game so well. When your centre-backs don't do their job, or if any chance you find them out of space, you beat it out you be at the right space at the right time to break up opposition play. But we don't see that from Enzo Fernandez and whoever can. He played alone, so he got worse. Even when he's paired with someone else, they don't do much in terms of protecting our defense. Keshawn, I'll come to you in a bit. Just give me a minute to catch up with the chat. Big up, coach. If these problems continue into next season, we will not have a Tucker's points to save us. Poch loses any of the opening games, the fans will go crazy, and that will be the end. I think that's a legit statement there. We're in a very dangerous territory right now. Big up to you, Celestin Vietti. I hope you're doing. And the Blue game, I haven't said hello to you, but we're all downcast given the situation. How can Frank ask Felix what his best position is? Has he gone mad? The man's a fraud and bloody lazy. His thing, the issue is everywhere. I'm not just gonna. He has his own issue. The players also. It's. I don't know if we're gonna get a single point from the remaining games. It will take some drastic measure for that to happen. Because if he only started Mudryk and Dacho Fofana and some other players that are hungry. Here's the thing, I liked the lineup, but after the first 10 minutes, it was clear it wasn't going to work because Aubameyang cannot press. And once you don't settle the Arsenal defense, they'd have more players come on you. And for 15-20, how long did he stay on the pitch? I think I need to look at that. It did not occur to Frank that that structure isn't working. Yeah, let me look at that. How long Aubameyang stayed on the pitch? I'm going to see that. When he we'll see. Did he finish the game? Let me see. 46 minutes. He shouldn't have lasted 20 minutes. Which again, the structure didn't work. He doesn't have the pace, cannot press, which was something Roger pointed out, and that was the case because it would have worked had we been able to keep the ball or play well, then find them in positions, but we weren't able actually to even press accurately, let alone hold on to the ball or find him if he makes a very good run. But that's why we'll move on from that. The media has gone to so quiet on Poch. I'm not sure what to make of that situation right now. I pray Poch goes to Spurs and Bali is forced into accepting Enrique's terms and conditions. Thoughts more concerned about his seat in the changing room than success. I don't blame you for coming up with that because these situations they do force us to look at, to start nitpicking, to start cherry picking, maybe to start pointing fingers and trying to find out what's really causing what has led to us suffering as much as we're doing right now. The players have given up completely. It's a solid argument that they had nothing to play for anymore. It says if Bali is not accepting Poch's terms, do you think he will accept Luis terms? I don't know. And please bulk up your comments and put them together. Don't put too many. Don't put them bit by bit. It makes it difficult to get other people's comments. This season is gone long ago. We've actually the season was finished 10 years ago. Actually, the only thing I was seeking for us to make sure we play a part in Arsenal not winning the league. That would have made me so happy. Next year, come back and it's new start clean slate. Yeah, it's as simple as that, coach. Why would you play for a manager that ripped your squad apart less than a season ago, and threw most of your teammates under the bus on numerous occasions, and then got himself fired. Yeah, and lost his job at Everton about a few months ago. Big up to you too, Chelsea, all the way. I hope you're doing well. Just a few seconds, Kesha, and I'll come to you. Let's pray we get Poch. If anyone is contemplating that Poch is not good enough for us, must think 12 times as where we are. Be real. That's the truth. I mean, I wouldn't mind any manager right now. It doesn't have to be Luis Enrique. Bobby sees why I don't care if Kovacic leaves. Not fantastic and no leadership qualities. Waste of space. I mean, let's voice our opinion today. What do these coaches see in training? I really don't get it. I'm confused. Physicality went out of the window yesterday. That was actually the list of our issues, but at least would have played a part. I'm not blaming the players. I'm going to the root of the problem, and his name is Todd Bowley. Too quick to sack Tuchel, too quick to hire Potter, too slow to sack Potter, and too slow to hire Poch. And actually, after sacking Potter, why hire Lampard?
I've got to go back to work. I just want to just quickly vent out.
All right, go ahead, IDZ.
Please, coach. Yeah, big up everyone in it. There's certain games in it, that certain games, that you almost don't need the manager to tell you what time it is. You almost kind of step up and know what the gravity of the match is, or what is at stake, or the fans that follow you don't know the pride that's at stake. And I think yesterday was one of those games, isn't it? I don't blame no manager. I blame my players, because this is not a manager issue. This is a player issue from going back to the beginning of the season. There's no heart, no soul. The players aren't good enough. They're getting good money, but delivering mediocre results. There is no passion. The first half, yesterday, I could walk in that dressing room and bang anyone in the face. And let's have a fight right here before second half, because that's exactly what was needed. There needed to be someone needed to knock someone's head into six, so someone gets the message right. Maybe I'm a bit emotional. Maybe because it's Arsenal I lost to. But what, excuse my French, what the fucking fuck was that last night? And I don't want to hear, Lampard tactic.
Let's just try and avoid the French.
Yeah. But all of that, it was an absolute abysmal show. There is no manager that's saying, he should have played this or this, that, and the third. The players did not stand up. They didn't look in the mirror.
Imagine the days.
They didn't look
Imagine the days of John Terry and Didier Drogba. They would have beaten you up in the dressing room.
Exactly, and you're not going to get that with those guys, because those guys had culture. You had pride. You look yourself in the mirror. When I get my paycheck, this money is too much. This is a lot of money. Where's the money coming from? It's coming from the sport I do, the job I do. Let me do this job to my best ability, which show a little bit of passion for the hard working people that made their way all the way to Holloway Road on a work night, albeit we just ended the bank holiday. Man's got to go work at 8 o'clock in the morning to see that, excuse my French, that show, and for me to hear the next day that, the manager. I saw 11 men out there yesterday doing call, bro. I see 11 men, I see arguments between Thiago Silva should have banged Chilwell in the face.
IBC, can you come closer to your mic?
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah.
Thiago Silva should have banged Chilwell in the face at halftime. He should have knocked Kepa's head against the railing. There should have been a fight at halftime. It should have been a 15-minute fight at halftime.
Exactly.
There should have been a madness for that.
There's no pride. They don't care.
No one in this earth can tell me this, that, it was just, that should have happened. Sutton should have gone yesterday, because that performance, my bro, was not acceptable. I could smash someone in the face for that. I don't get emotional, because I know that the problem is culminating from last year, albeit our situation. So, it's fizzled down. But I'm so sorry. We have nothing anymore to play for. Our season's over. All we got to do is go over there and just don't even listen to what the manager has to say. Have your own pride. You've had 3 managers all year. Just take an instruction from one of the managers. Don't forget what Lampard has to say. Don't listen to his tactics. Just go out there and perform. Show some pride, for God's sake. There was nothing, coach. Nothing of the sort. Then I'm hearing, I'm hearing, oh, Lampard. What's Lampard got to do with the price of cheese? The problem was there before he came. He's been there since, what, April? We're in May? He's been there since April. We're in May. We had Potter since October. We had Tuchel since then. The problem's still the players have messed up, man, this year. And I want the next gaffer to come in next year and tell them the real truth. They need to be told them the real truth. You guys are done out here. You're no different to the newly promoted teams that come out here. You think the Champions League medal gassed you up. That Champions League medal is useless. It's useless. It's irrelevant right now. It's just history. It's just on your CV.
Yep, you haven't won anything. I think we've talked about something similar before. You haven't arrived.
You haven't arrived.
Exactly.
Where have you arrived? Is that the Champions League that's gassing you up? You ain't done cool. 6 years since 2017, you ain't done nothing. Just papering over the cap over one champ. What tournament? Anyone can win a tournament. Greece won the Euros. Wigan won the FA Cup. Anyone can win a tournament. Don't ever get it twisted, rude boy. It goes a lot, but the realness is how you go in transition. 38 games. How many games we've been doing? Nothing, bro. Nothing. And I've been hearing managers, oh, this manager, this manager, oh yeah, the manager. Why go out for the players? Why go out for the man that's actually running out there, looking in the mirror and saying, Rob, today, how am I gonna better myself? It's pride, you know. It's pride, you know. That's just all I have to say. I'm absolutely, I get ape shit when we lose against Arsenal, but I also get more anger when we lose stupidly. You know what I mean? Not putting no fight. Look at Tottenham. I'm so sorry to say. Look at Tottenham against Liverpool. Look at that. Look at that. They went over 3-0 down. They come back, albeit they lost. Look at that. We ain't even got 2% of that. They did that at home against United as well. We can never look at Arsenal. We are no better than Southampton. Southampton could go to the Emirates and score 3 goals. Southampton could do that. West Ham can come back against Arsenal. Could we do that?
So let me ask you this, IBZ. Your point is clear. Your point is clear. I think we have to manage your mic like that. Unfortunately, it hasn't improved.
Sorry.
Your point is clear. The players, they have to look themselves in the mirror. They get paid to perform. Sometimes you don't even need sometimes you take matters into your own hands. But I don't think we have such players right now. And you did mention, how did it begin? I'm sure, as much as I think Frank Lampard, I think maybe even when he did well, it doesn't look like he's a good orator. He doesn't know how to instill confidence in players. Once things start going downhill, it seems as if he runs out of ideas with regards to how to motivate his players to keep pushing. We didn't see that. Here's the thing: if you've been calling on saying Graham Potter wasn't, vocal enough or wasn't doing enough to motivate his players, you should use the same energy and say the same with regards to Frank Lampard. But I'm not here to blame him, because we've come to the conclusion, we've realized that truly it's not just about the manager. The players also have to take blames. But from your comment, the fact remains, I don't think he's doing enough to motivate them. The selection didn't help either.
He's not doing anything.
Yeah, he's not doing much to motivate them. But Kashan, just give me 1 second. Let me go just to get. We don't have too much comments. IBC said he wanted to leave. That's why he wanted to
sorry,
take that opportunity.
I'm leaving now. Sorry if I messed up on my mic.
No worry, you didn't. No worries. I judged yesterday about Pochettino's contract delaying because of terms not conforming with yes, man. But it seems it's not far from the truth. There may well be the case. And Mikhail here, my bro, says, big up Kachila. How are we doing? I think we're coping. We'll survive. We suffer together in hope that this too shall pass. That is the truth. Purgatory FC, I hope it passes. This says a Chelsea squad is just too large and the morale in the team is shot. With the players there, you should be in top 4 at least. That's just the truth. We should be doing better than we've been doing for a while now. And we haven't helped by hiring. I'm going to say it, as much as I still respect Lampard and as much as I don't think everything is his fault, he shouldn't have been the one to come in as the interim manager. Even paying attention to how he did at Everton should have been enough for the club to say, you know what, we're going with someone else. It's a manager issue. How can your tactics have Kante playing second striker and Nani playing almost right wing back? It's just confusing. That's where you have to apportion some blames to him. And Mihailo Modric sat on the bench, and yeah, the players just started. Get Lampard out of the club now. Stop blaming the players. Passion, desire, and energy isn't good enough. That's the truth. Here's the thing. That's why we're saying the issue is everywhere. It's not just one issue. Chelsea started flopping after Todd stupidly sent a TT out of the team. There are plenty of stars in this Chelsea squad. Lack of management skills and experience to utilize those players. That's the issue. That's how I see it. This squad is good enough to do better than we've done. I think we will end up with company of Gerrard. I don't know. Whatever happens, please try bulk up your messages and send them as one. Don't send them too many messages at the same time. Otherwise, I will be commenting at the same time. Otherwise, I will be skipping a few of your contributions there. Lampard's fault. These kids he's dealing with. These are kids that he's dealing with. You have to literally teach class to them and not just chat about the badge, pride, and all those other cheap buzzwords. We live in an information age. I think when you have kids in your ranks as your players, when the crop of players you have are maturity kids, you have to do a lot of coaching. You have to do a lot of teaching, like the term the beautiful game you say. As much as I didn't see the fight in them, but you have to do a lot to motivate your players. Sadly, too many new players have arrived in the squad too soon. This happened at Forest as well, and look what happened to their season. Yeah, let's see what happens. We can waffle as much as we want, throw players on the pitch with no tactical setup and structure, depending on the passion, energy, desire, and physicality will change nothing. Unfortunately, I don't think he goes anywhere at this point. Says, yeah, Lampard just sat down mostly in the game and crossed. I'm crossed. He should be up and directing and motivating. If this player's walking around and not following instructions, at one point we started fighting ourselves on the pitch, and that's not a good sign. Again, sometimes it can be a good thing, but in this case, nothing good there. Bally destroyed the structure that used to work after January transfer window, and Potter sacking the players gave up. Wow. Let's see what else we have, Coach. That is the frustrating part. We know we have good players. All Chelsea fans know, not all Chelsea fans. Some think the problem is the problem lies with the players because ask them and they have a solid argument actually under Toku, under Potter, but to me, I don't think it's the players. We've changed quite a lot. I'll come back to you. We have to let Kashan speak if you don't mind, bro. Coach, that is
please, Coach, please,
just 1 second, Kashan. Sorry?
Please, before you go there, I have to just drop one thing. This is why this summer we need to get Declan Rice. You need your English spine in the team. Those players that will fight and die for you. Those players that when the going gets tough, they stand up to be counted. We don't have those sort of leaders in that team. And someone like Declan Rice would do that. I know lots of people hate him and say, oh, you can't get this guy as a CDM. Sometimes it's not so much about quality, but it's about heart. If you add the heart to the team, then the quality can show. Sorry to interrupt.
All right, thank you. Listening to Lampard's post press conference, what do you conclude? Nothing. I think it's something like he's making excuses. That's not me saying he's not a good person or he wasn't. He was a good player, but do I think he's a good coach? No. Does it make sense to just blame him and him alone? No. Frank Lampard, apologies anonymous in session today. I see. Let's blame players for whatever you say. That I see lots of people. Will blame the players. Coach, why are the fans worried? I don't get it. And next season is a fresh start, and the squad is too good to fail. Maybe Mohammed Masoudi says all players are ruined and destroyed, and no matter who you put in the lineup, whether the old or new players, the confidence is so low. That's key point there. The confidence is so low. All blame on the owners who destroyed them. It's everywhere, not just a single person. Coach Bobby is right. I will take Rice. We need those fighting spirit. Okay. fighting players. Let's see what else we have here. When you more from one bomb manager to another, this is the outcome. Some of us saw it coming. Yeah, I get slated, and some people mentioned in my nationality because I said something with regards to Frank Lampard being the interim manager. English spine. Okay, that's use. Big up Kuchila, big up Chelsea family. Like this channel, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Still blame the owners for every decision making. I remember a QPR season when they bought almost every player in the market, and what happened to them.
Can I just go real quick? I just wanted to go
Yeah,
real
go ahead,
quick
go
and get
ahead,
it out
go
the
ahead.
way because it's gonna take. All right, so the whole club is in shambles, like from top to bottom. Like there's blame to go around, all from the manager to the players, the owners. So just first of all, during the game, there was no tactics whatsoever. Like at least with Potter, I saw like at least something of like what he was trying to do or something.
We did see progress. We started seeing progress at some point. Go ahead.
With this guy Lampard, there's no tactics. Like for a legend of his ilk, like he made the players worse. Like, and it doesn't help when the veterans are just going through the motions. Like Mateo Kovacic is just he's mentally checked out. He doesn't want to be here anymore. Like he doesn't care about what happens with this club. So there was no tactics. None of these players are playing with pride. They don't want to fight for this club. They just want to get their check, get in their foreign car, and go home. They don't care. At this point to them, it's a job. It's not a love of the game. It's just a job. They're just getting a check. Next thing, there's no leadership. Like I said before, Kovacic, no Silva, and what the guy before was saying, how there was no fight. I agree. There was no one upset enough to like show aggression, like to go in the locker room and be like, guys, we need to step it up. Like there's no one that's like that pissed off to like it's sad. It's crazy. Oh my God.
It's sad indeed. And I'm sure these players, I think something I said a while ago, your pedigree as a player can only earn you so much respect as a manager. Once you step into that leadership role, if the players think you don't know what you're doing, whatever you say goes in from one ear and goes out from the other one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they trust him. Once it gets to
not even
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but not even like just trusting the manager, just playing, just you see another team just beating you. Like, doesn't that like motivate you to want to play your hardest? Like, they don't want to play their hardest. They don't care. Like, there's no incentive for these guys to play anymore. Like, it's crazy to see. And then my other thing is, where's Benoit Badiashile? What did he do to Frank Lampard that he's not a part of this lineup? Did he look at him the wrong way? Did he, like, this is crazy. This is madness. And every time we play in a back four, we always look in disarray. We have a back four with no center defensive midfielder.
And didn't we talk about that during the pregame show? We knew there was, and especially when it's 4-3-3, it's usually we seem like we don't know how. Again, our players always looked confused whenever we tried to play that with that structure. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, they always look confused. And that leads to my other point. There's no communication whatsoever. You see Enzo and Madueke like arguing about where they're supposed to be. You see Silva and Chilwell discussing, like Fofana's asking for communication. No one's talking because there's no tactic because they don't know what's going on. They're just out there to play. Like they're just out there to just get a check. Like it's baffling to me. Like just play the kids, please. Just play Datro Fofana. Let Madueke and Mudryk up top. Let Carney play. Let Gallet. All these guys just play because they're gonna actually fight and they're gonna actually like put forth an actual effort. Like, and that's all I need. Just put effort in, please.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna bring you in a bit. I don't have too much to catch up. Poch is pretty much the best option at the moment right now. It is taking too long. And if talks break down, we are in bigger trouble next season. Let's see. We don't want another passion, energy, and desire merchant at Chelsea. Enough with that. It will take a Paulinho instead. Everybody have the player they prefer. To me, I'd rather was Ismail Banessa from AC Milan. Arms affording coach. Yeah. Let's see what else we have here, coach. Have you ever told a kid something they didn't know? The first thing they do is grab their phone to fact check what you said. These players are doing the same to Lampard, and they're exposing his flaws. Here's the thing. I still respect him as a legend. He was excellent as a player, but wow, as a manager, yeah, I know the players, and you know, they're not really. We didn't see the fighting spirit, and that's no surprising. You'd have to be lying to yourself that after 5 losses in a row, you'd expect to see them all of a sudden go boom from 0 to 100, and you see a fight. You'd have to be lying to yourself. It made the only thing that would have made a difference is to start maybe nearly 7 different players up to that level. Accommodate Gallagher, accommodate Noni Madueke, Mihailo Modric, unknown status, and Pulisic. You would have seen a different fight, honestly. Okay. It says Bobby with the English spine rhetoric. It seems Potter and Lampard hasn't taught you a lesson. Let's move on from that, please. I've heard fans say Pep couldn't get a tune out of this squad. I disagree, and I think I disagree with that too. And some will say keep bringing 10 managers, but the only thing I can say, whoever comes in, that person's job starts with motivating the player, because the confidence level right now is in the minus area. Honestly, it's not above 0. Good day to you too, Chama. I hope you're doing well. Your brother will probably most likely be making fun of you right now. That is why he's going with the Argentine now. Let's see what else we have here. Arsenal fans are rejoicing that we wasted money. I don't think he's thinking, you could say, yeah, we wasted money because we're not bringing in the right people to make sure whatever tool we've purchased is put to good use. Actually, Potter was better than Lampard. That's as clear as day right now. We could see some concern in his actions and words, but Lampard just seemed to care less. He said he's done it before, and I guess he's showing what he did. I mean, it's a depressing situation. People are giving flimsy excuses about big squad, preseason, blah, blah, blah. I give up the squad, and he will get at least a top 4. Here's the thing. Give Pep the squad, and he'll get top 4. Here's the thing. No matter how you see it, I don't think the size of the squad should be the least of our issues. If anything, you can send players to go train with the academy. You don't have to accommodate them all in the first team training, if that makes sense. Chelsea Otherway says, smash a like on them, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The views are kind of slow this morning, but that's fine. Sterling has disappointed me big time. They couldn't even defend. He couldn't even defend, man. Went next. Yeah, what's next for Chelsea? I honestly do not know. I think he's a big disappointment. I was one of his biggest defenders, but I'm done. Big up, coach. Big up to you too, Michael Obinka. I hope you're doing well. Datro and Badashila look like the kind of guys to speak their mind and not give a damn. I think they are upset. The apple cart. Okay. But isn't that exactly what we need? Well, let's see what else we have here. I'm good. How about you? I hope you're well. So let's come to you, Tabaho. You wanted to say something else?
Yeah, it seems like the fans are complaining about the January transfer window. If we couldn't sign those players, do you think we would have signed them in the upcoming summer? We had to sign players because there were so many difficulties due to injuries. Some players were off form, and then we needed a replacement. But the silly thing that we did was not selling, maybe offloading some of the players. But I don't have a problem by bringing 8 players. So I think our fans should be gentle on that one.
Yeah, have you spoken up again? What do you? How do you think how do you think we'll overcome the confidence issue? I think it would take, for instance, Lampard having, being bold enough with his selection, dropping lots of these established players or maybe experienced players, give the younger ones a chance, including Lewis Hall, Noni Madueke, Kani Chukwuemeka, Mihailo Modric. Start them. Give them the chance. Even start. Look, these experienced players, I think they're done. I think they're the biggest problem. And I'm not saying they're done, like we should just sell them because we can't sell them all. I think maybe for the season, just forget most of them. Mix it up. Give these young players. They're the ones that have shown fight. I wouldn't even mind. Hey, Gallagher, oh, you love him. I think he's actually. At least he fights.
Yeah, at least he shows effort at this point.
He shows
put
fight.
Lewis Hall in, put all these
exactly. And he made a difference when he came on. Did we see that from look at I think let's be honest. As much as I hate to do this. I hate to single out players and start criticizing them when the team as a whole underperforms. But my goodness, Raheem Sterling.
Oh,
it's unbelievable.
He's worse than Timo Werner.
Even when there is space, even when nobody's on him, he can't pass the ball. And yet, Frank started him, and he lasted as long as he did on the pitch. That concerns me. That's where I start, asking if Frank, if he knows what he's doing, really. If you don't have to even, he shouldn't have waited until the end of the first half to take off Aubameyang. After the first 15 to 20 minutes, change the structure to accommodate him or take him off, continue with the 4-3-3 structure. He didn't do that. I'm not sure what to make of the situation right now. This says, why is Lampard not using Badiashile? The structure yesterday, I think that once I saw it was a back four, clearly no space for him. If it was a back three, you could have played him in the left center back position. But with the back four, with Thiago Silva on the pitch, we have to accommodate a quick player such as Wesley Fofana. Badiashile, as good as he is, he's not the quickest. That's not to mean he's slow. But yeah, we need to I think it's important that we mix it up a bit, and that mix was good. But the biggest issue for me is in the midfield area. They're not doing enough to protect the defense. I did not congratulate my brother Coachella. They beat a weak Chelsea team. That's the truth. You don't have to. Let's see what we have here. The funny thing is, Coach, I don't think Bolly would invent the dressing room if Pep was there. He'd quit. He'd quit one time. That's what big managers do. If you try that, they quit. They will leave their job. Thank God you ate something before the game. I could have collapsed during the first half of the game. I was screaming so hard. I hated it, really. Yesterday, you could see the players coaching themselves on the pitch. There was the manager and some blame the players doing the coaching and playing at the same time. Disgusting. Here's the thing. Yeah, I think that is concerning, really. That shows you who the person whose responsibility is to coach the team isn't really doing his job. If he's doing enough, the player, we shouldn't be seeing that. Although in certain situations, once you see players arguing, it can be a good thing. But in this case, nothing good. It's not a reflection of anything good. Sterling is so average. I think I couldn't agree more with that comment. If a player isn't part of coach's plan, why keep them with the squad? Yeah, they can go train with the reserves. So if you want to say that, Coach, I think we should ban the word passion from future streams. Nightbot, make it so. I told you, Coach. If Lampard starts Sterling again, he's lost. He will lose your respect. My goodness, it's everywhere, really. I'm so disappointed in Raheem Sterling, but. Like I said, I hate to single out the players and start criticizing them, but he's that bad, really. 6 games, 6 losses. That is the worst result ever in the history of Chelsea. I I think it measures one that happened 2 decades ago. So what? Yeah, I think I heard the commentator say that, and that comes from a legend. Now, wow, yeah, it's crazy. So I'm gonna come back to you, Tabeho. The you know the confidence issue. How do we overcome that, really? Keshawn, have you, maybe let me start with you. I think I've asked Tabeho that question. How do we overcome the confidence issue? Because, yeah, go ahead.
The club hired someone who was a former All Black something, if I'm not mistaken. What happened to him?
I don't know. Maybe they fired him immediately, realizing that the issue is bigger than that.
Come on.
Yeah. This is hilarious. No space for Badia Chile, but plenty of space for all they got. Yeah, you
Oh
can.
my
That's a solid argument, this side. But go ahead, Keshawn. You wanted to say something.
So I mean, Odegaard was looking like Lampard out there. Like, it's crazy. At some point, I'm thinking Lampard might as well throw on his boots and get on the field. Maybe we might have a shot because our midfield was in shambles.
Yeah,
Like,
the midfield, they suck defensively, especially, and I think they had no answer to the way. Here's the thing. I think Bobby said it perfectly. We are struggling. Why not pack the midfield? I start with a structure that will have more people centrally. Enzo struggled as you could say, yeah, a lone six, and he's I don't. I'm so pissed right now. I do not know how to start talking about this because I've spoken about that repeatedly. Most people aren't paying attention. We have serious issues in the midfield area. Even when we play well, as good as we are offensively, defensively we don't do much to protect the defense, and that's modern football for you. We just leave them vulnerable. And unfortunately, yesterday Koulibaly wasn't on the pitch, or even Kukurea. Say what you like about him, he's actually done more defensively. He plays as a sweeper defender, and that in most cases, does come in handy and sometimes can be effective. But it is a concerning situation. Let me see what else we have here. No space for Badia Chile, but plenty of space for the guy. I blame the 2 6s or the 6 on the day for that one. We have 6s that follow the ball like primary school kids. Every direction the ball goes, that's where you see them. Not reading the danger, not realizing that Martin Odegaard had all the space in the wall, that if you don't close him down, he's going to have the chance to shoot. And yeah, so on 2 occasions they should have read, the danger and do something. The second one was just Raheem Sterling standing there in the box without zero awareness of his surroundings, and Odegaard, showed them he's the more intelligent of the 2 players and utilized the space very well. Or his lack of Raheem Sterling's lack of awareness of his surroundings, he made the most out of it. Kachila Sterling was good at City, good for England, and back at Chelsea. What do you conclude from that? You could say at this point maybe it's not even, maybe just me speculating. Maybe he's not trying. He feels like he's arrived. He feels like maybe he's the best player at Chelsea, or maybe like some people have argued. Right now, how old is he? He's earning so much. And if you want to, cancel his contract, you pay him off. There's a lot of factors to think about. Or maybe he wasn't that good. Maybe he played in a well-drilled City that even the worst player in world football would look good because they perform as a team, you hardly see. I don't know how else to. There's so many things that comes to mind as to why he's become so bad at Chelsea. I just don't know. This says Kachila, Madueke, Badeshile, Enzo, Mudryk are better. Those are good players. But one thing is this: it's a team sport, and once you have so much players underperforming. It trickles down to it and affects everybody. It's as simple as that. Then the only solution will be to select, make nearly, you could say, a wholesome change if possible, or maybe change the whole team. during a match to see a different outcome, because you could reference that saying that says repeating the same thing all the time and expecting a different result. So to see a different result, you have to make a wholesome change, or maybe change to a considerable extent before you see a different result. So that doesn't differ from that much from that. What I believe may well be the only solution for this Chelsea squad would be to drop a lot of players and give the young stars a chance. Even go get some players that haven't gotten a chance to play. At least you see a fight from them. Just balance it up with a few experienced players here and there, and they will cook actually, or maybe play better. Let's see. Yeah, I get it. Those players, I think they deserve to start. Coachella Lampard should have started Felix. I think he should have started. Even the last game, the game before that, I think he should have started. You don't bench him because he's been hitting the goalpost. You don't help him by doing that. If anything, your decision to drop him will hit his confidence further. If I was Lampard, I would have just called, Felix to speak with him and let him know, look, you're close. You've hit the woodwork like 10 million times. Keep trying. Maybe the next one, it will go in. Just adjust your, adjust your strikes a bit. It's as simple as that. And he goes and drops him on the bench 2 consecutive games now, or 3 consecutive games actually. That will not help his confidence. And when he comes onto the pitch, you expect him to all of a sudden be firing on all cylinders. And when you've done something that actually most likely will make his confidence worse, if that makes sense. Let's see what we have. Frank is just fortunate that the fans aren't allowed certain objects in the stadium. Well, I don't want to go to that extent. The owners present presence. Okay, I guess you wanted to type presence, but your phone helped you spell that one. Maybe causing some problems in the dressing room. Here's the thing, it's common sense, really. If the owners of a club goes into the dressing room for whatever reason, I think you're clearly undermining the authority of the manager, especially if you ever if you go into the dressing room and start talking about the player's performance while the manager is there. You have the final say, because the players believe they know you're the owner of the club, or at least let me say one of the owners of the club. If you do that, you're undermining the manager's authority. To them, you're making them believe that the manager isn't good enough. If you want to talk to the players, go to the training ground. It's as simple as that. I think that's a solid argument right there. And it's concerning that they've done that, but that's the least of our problem right now. Our players are so low, the confidence level it's in the minus levels. It's in the minus. And here's the thing, it could get worse because I'm going to keep repeating this. The more games you lose, the easier it is to lose the next game. It will take some drastic measure for that to turn things around at the stage, at the level, this point where we are right now. It has to take something special for that to turn around. I don't want to see Sterling and Aubameyang on the pitch again. A lot of us said that yesterday, and Constantine Dante said 40 years ago, I think was said last time we lost 6 games in a row. This doesn't sound like it's Chelsea Football Club. I don't want to see Sterling and Aubameyang. I've read that one. Says Lampard needs to walk away from Chelsea. Here's the thing: forget all the nonsense about how much one loves the club, or how the legendary status and all that. It's business for all parties involved. If he walks away, I don't think he'd get a compensation. It'd have to be they'd have to come to an agreement to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to walk away if you agree to pay me a certain amount. It's business for all parties involved. And like it or not, he's probably not too sure when next he's going to get another chance to coach any team. I don't know what division that will happen. But that's why we're moving from that. This says Enzo looks bad now. He also looks heavy, slower than Jorginho. One thing I'm going to say, this is not me saying Enzo is a bad player. Enzo is different. He's more creative in terms of chance creation. He's more creative of the two players. But where we find ourselves right now, Jorginho's leadership could have gone along with, plus his playing ability. plus his ability to control the game. We were too quick. We were in a rush to let him go when we didn't have any like-for-like replacement for him, given that we've gotten used to playing with him in our team. His thing, see it how you like it. Hate Jorginho all you like. I think he would have been again had he still been. Assuming he's still part of again Chelsea right now. I think he'd make a lot of difference. Hate him or you love him. I think we were too quick to let him go when we don't have a leadership in the team, and actually we don't have a player that's any player that's capable of fulfilling his role. If that makes sense. But I'm going to move on from that and try to get what next we have in the chat here. Yeah, I think every player looks bad right now. Some people are saying don't blame Lampard, blame the players. Lampard's record from 20 matches, 17 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win. So blame and that's not just at Chelsea. Yeah, that's the only 6 at Chelsea right now. So which means 11 of the rest were at 11 of those losses were at Everton, which means we should also start blaming Everton players. Here's the thing: as much as I don't think it's all that is happening right now, as much as I don't think it's all his fault. I think he has to take some blames too. He is on the right appointment, but I prefer to blame the owners who looked at it and say, you know what, let's go for him. Didn't they see his record at Everton? So
yeah, it was all PR, man. It was all PR.
Yeah, it's just so PR hire, which is sentimental. I think these guys are smart enough. I strongly believe they didn't become billionaires by being dumb. So why hire him after making the mistake of hiring Graham Potter, even though his win rate then was about 31% or so at Brighton? They make the same mistake, not looking at Lampard's win rate. It just doesn't make any sort of sense. So we have to blame everybody. But in the players' case, honestly, I refuse to say it's all of them. No, because they're low on confidence. And what you expect of them when they've lost 5 games in a row? Unfortunately, it won't happen. People keep dropping the likes on the stream. We're at 43 likes. Let's get the likes up. And also, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Good morning to you too. The owners tried to erase everything. Well, you could say quite a lot has been erased already. But always nice to see you. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. To me, Chelsea problems are very simple. If only the owners realize their mistakes and include our former Chelsea players in the back room, we have that now. And how well has it worked for us? I don't know. Former players are the identity of this team. We seriously need them. You're saying like in non. Just like some ranks within the board, is that what you're referring to? Starling cannot even pass. He cannot. Please bulk your messages up. Don't be sending them bit by bit. We have former Chelsea players in the back room. Yeah, I agree with you. Mediocrity breeds mediocrity. Lampard has no business being a coach. The Anglo-Celtic Isles, okay, tax is real. Yeah, you can argue that. They must buy players 25 to 26 to 27 years old on their peak of their career. We have enough youth mix, good experience with you. Balance is key. Balance will be key. So I agree with you. Let's see what else I have to get here. I may not have to if anybody on the panel wants to speak, I can pause a bit with what I'm reading in the chat, but let's get people's opinion. What are we still talking about? Isn't it high time for any Chelsea fans over there in London to confront Lampard, to walk away? I don't think you can force him to walk away. It's business. Let's see. Before Lampard left Chelsea last time, the players were the problem. Tuchel came in and the rest was history. These same people are blaming the players again because of Lampard's cluelessness. And here's the thing, I refuse to blame the players, really. The reason why Lampard benches Felix is because of off the ball, he is poor. Yeah, and starting Aubameyang solved the issue they did. At least Felix is quicker. At least Felix is actually good off the ball in terms of pressing. But I don't know. He's better. Let me just say he's better than Aubameyang in terms of his behavior off the ball. Lampard is taking out Felix psychologically to enhance the re-emergence of Mount. It's not clear. Mount will be out to the end of the season, so I'm not sure that's the case. Coach, did you see Mudryk yesterday? That guy is good. He needs some more minutes. He puts a pressure on Arsenal defense, and he created more chances than we created the entire game. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw some statistics like that. Please keep smashing the like button, people. We're at 44 likes. Let's get it to 50 and shoot for 100 if we can today. That will go a long way. There's Enzo slander. I haven't seen any Enzo slander here. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any, except if you saw any elaborate. What I'm saying is this. Here's the thing. For me, I'd rather him play in a more advanced role than play deep. If you're going to play him like that, then you need more defensively sound players flanking him. I think we forget how old he is, actually. He's still learning. And at this age, you need to, find a way to accommodate the fact that he's not excellent in terms of protecting the defense. On occasions, we've been lucky, actually, we've considered less. You can see he's still inexperienced, actually. He's not the most experienced. Yes, he's won the World Cup, and he's an excellent player, don't get me wrong. But we should be doing more to accommodate the fact that he's not the best in terms of protecting the defense, and you need that in the Premier League. I don't know. We see things differently, but let me see what else we have here. I like the video. I beat the Kun. Tom, keep dropping the likes, people. 46 likes. Let's get it to 50 and 100. Coach, imagine if you're a teacher in class and the principal comes in and sits at the back of the class and then keeps sticking his hand up and interrupting. If it was me, he'd get the bamboo for sure. Here's the thing, where we are today for many reasons. Let's see what we have. Lampard is not taking out Felix because of Mount re-emergency. I think I disagreed with that when I saw it. Mount is out of the season. Yep, that reasoning doesn't work. Felix's decision-making in the final third is absolutely poor, but I would have rather him being on the pitch than Aubameyang. That's how I feel. We're so autumn leaves. The whole fan base wanted him out for Enzo. What we're talking about, I'm just saying, here's the thing. I'm just saying, say what you like. I think here's the thing, where we're at right now leaves room for us to find some situations and look at and say, you know what, we could have been different had this not happened. And if we're being honest to ourselves, we would have been better off to let Graham Potter finish the season. If we're not going to bring in someone else, rather than go for Frank Lampard, given he just lost his Everton job a few months ago. So it's not all on the players. I get it. But what do you expect after losing 5 games in a row and all of a sudden in the London derby you see a fight when we're starting nearly the same players that nearly the same 11 that lost the last game. I mean, it's a psychological thing, and it's not easy to overcome after losing 5 games in a row. This says if you have a good system structure and style of play, you don't need a passion, energy, and desire. All of those things do work. Let's see, there's no leaders on the pitch, no one to tell these players what to do. That was where I started making the Jorginho argument. I think we could have, but I think it was a business decision mainly, not most likely not because he's a surplus requirement or anything. No one to tell these players what to do and how to play forward. This says it is true. It is true, though. We do need to shed light on the Enzo issues well overdue. See it however you want to see it. He's an excellent player, but even before we signed him, we were clamoring on this channel saying Enzo alone cannot solve our problems. Our problems run beyond Jorginho and all that. But we move on. What is Enzo's issue? Let me say this again. For instance, he's not the best in terms of protecting the defense. As under 6, he should be able to read the game well enough and be in the right place at the right time to closing or take out. You can say if you want to look at the situation surrounding the first goal or the events up to the first goal. And that's not the first time. And that was why I mentioned how Koulibaly on the pitch literally operates as a 6. And that's because he senses the danger that our 6s don't see. Sometimes he actually goes beyond the 6s to stop the break up opposition play, if that makes sense. I'm going to bring in Roger, but let me get something from some of the members in the chat here quickly. This says, if played and result worsens under a new manager, it must be the manager, surely. Of course, the players take blame, but we've worsened, or we've become worse under Frank Lampard. If he has any respect for himself and the club resign, yeah, it sounds easy. Big up Kuchila and the whole chat. Another shambolic performance. Nani Madrike, when he came, when he came on, we're trying. Okay, Fernandez being played out of position. Everyone knows he's not a holding midfielder. Thank you for pointing that out also. So even when you pair him, when we have a double, when we play play games with 2 6s, he still again struggles defensively. But that's, by the way, that's not saying he's a bad player. The issue goes beyond Enzo Fernandez. So let's come to you, Roger. You're on the panel already. Hola, señora. Gracias. I'm not going to leave any Spanish for you to speak today. What I want to ask is this. We started by talking about the players' confidence, Roger, because it's a serious problem. It's a serious problem. And it's something I've said before, lose 5 games, losing the next one is easy. Win vice versa, win 5 games, winning the next one is easy. Roger, where we find ourselves, do you think we'll be able to win a single? I know you've been saying that for 1,000 years now, but say it one more time. If you said it 1,000 times, say it 1,001 times. Roger, do you see us winning, getting the point from anywhere at all? How do we overcome the confidence issue? Because it's in the minuses.
Yeah, it's a snowball effect. And hello, gentlemen. Hello, Coach.
Hello to you too.
It's that perpetual, that proverbial avalanche, isn't it? It's that small snowball running downhill that ends up being a boulder-sized snowball. So this is what's transpiring. We have a lack of leadership, the veterans, and I know we have Silva and Aspie, but for all intents and purposes, there isn't this same, shall we say, quantity and, more importantly, quality of leadership that we have previously been accustomed to. I think we can safely assume that. And I think that that's the most important factor that I see from this squad, this locker room. And so 10 years ago, could you see this transpiring hypothetically with these characters, these personalities? I doubt it very much. There'll be holes in the locker room walls, that people will be punching holes in the walls. They would be livid. They would. I'm not saying these current players don't take pride in themselves, but I think not at the same level that their predecessors have. I think that's the same subject. I'm not talking about their quality in football and their skill levels. I'm talking about their alpha, their ability to lead, that quality. This is an immeasurable quality, and it's something that's really important. And we've been saying this for a while, and you're seeing the consequences as such. So I think this is really important to address. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I think for a large part, I with all due respect, Bobby, I don't agree with you with your assessment of Lampard, because if he was, you have valid points, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't have valid points, but you don't all of a sudden become a bad manager. Yeah, sure, after 10, 20 years out of the game changes, it evolves, I get it. But he did well with us 2-3 years ago, whenever it was, and so he's shown the ability. And as I've said, coaches coach, players play. And it takes time. If you listen to virtually everybody that has played in this game professionally and at an international level, at the highest levels, they will all say one thing, and I'm hearing it from ESPN, from Sky, from BN Sports, etc., BBC, etc. They all say one thing: it takes time. You don't just all of a sudden walk into a football team and have a few training sessions and voila. Look at Pep. Pep inherited a Premier League winning team, and yet he wasn't successful his first year. In fact, he looked quite ordinary because he lacked defensive players. Does that make sense? There was a transition of such. Look at Klopp. It took him 3 years. And then you know about Man United's great coach, Ferguson. It took him 6 years. So it takes time to implement the philosophy, the formation, however you want to term it, whatever needs to be instilled, it takes time. This isn't something that you just add salt and pepper and voila, you have a beautiful dish. It's not that simple. Yeah, you can employ Sam Allardyce, Big Sam, and shut down shop and struggle and so forth and play as such, you know. That's not what we're looking for. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we played with a 4-3-3 yesterday. We played with a 4-4-2, at least for the first half. We had, believe it or not, Aubameyang and Kante up front. Those were the two players up front, believe it or not. If you watch the game back, it was those two. I haven't seen the game back again, but that's what it looked like, a 4-4-2.
I respect you for being able to. Oh, you haven't seen it back. I was going to say, did you have the courage to watch it back?
Oh, I shall. I will definitely.
Maybe in a few days when you calm down very well. But go ahead.
I'm calm.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But go ahead.
I'm immune to it. I'm numb to it right now. And listen, you have to understand, and I mean this really politely, but you're relatively new to being a Chelsea fan. Bobby and we've seen much worse. I'm used to going to Chelsea games where we get hammered, and it's just like going to Brentford when I was a child. You know, it's not that we should get used to it, but I've seen the other side of Chelsea, and you know, it makes it even more worth the while when you see a Chelsea team succeed, which they have done for the last 2 decades. So, but getting back to Chelsea right now, the one thing that I did look at, you know, the first 30 to 45 minutes, you know who I watched more than anybody? I didn't even watch the ball most of the time. Guess who I watched? Pierre-Emerick. Not on the ball. He had 9 touches. 4 of them were kickoffs. So he had 5 touches. He couldn't hold up the ball. He was jogging. He was walking. So, you know, all this, it's not about, you know, what you do with the ball. It's what you do when you don't have possession. And that's what he did. He phoned this game in. He mailed it in, however you want to term it. He should never be wearing a Chelsea shirt again. You know, I hear all the critics say, well, he hasn't been given the opportunities. He's not matched rust. You know, he's rusty. He hasn't had the amount of opportunities. But initially, when he had that 3 or 4 game stretch, he never succeeded. I think he scored 3 goals, if I'm not mistaken. He was, the key term is was a great player / good player. He isn't currently, whether that's physically because his legs have gone or psychologically he doesn't care. I have no idea. One can only assume. But trust me, you know, as soon as Kai came on, if you have a look at how he pressed with urgency. He sprinted. Only once did I see Pierre-Emerick sprint. And that actually caused a defender to pass backwards once in 45. Bloody once. You know, that's unacceptable, coach. It's like Kai came on and look at the difference. And he held the ball up. Pierre-Emerick was not able to. And then my cousin, now don't let me start my cousin, coach. He was inept. He couldn't string passes together. He physically in the air, he just doesn't even.
And he lasted for 71 minutes on the pitch.
Yeah, 72 too many, in my opinion. You know, I just don't listen. He has qualities. I'm not saying he doesn't, and he brings intangibles like leadership and maturity in the locker room. You know, when you have a bunch of 20-year-olds that are getting a lot of money per week, you see this relatively mature professional player that has got a family, that is a father, that doesn't go out drinking. He's just a calm, lovely person. You need players like that in your team. He brings intangibles, but on the pitch, there are certain games consistently that he doesn't produce. He's not technical. His first touch is so lacking. And I've seen that since his Liverpool days, and I've never seen any improvement. However, he makes intelligent runs. He has speed, intangibles, like speed you cannot teach. I get it. But to me personally, I wouldn't have started him. Look at Modric when he came on. I actually disagree with Bobby. I thought the game changed when Kai came on. And Bobby's correct. It's not that we played better in the second half. It's that they took the foot off their proverbial accelerator.
They felt like they've won it.
Yes, I totally agree with Bobby. However, from their perspective, they're like, okay, they scored one goal, meaning us. And from their perspective, they're like, I doubt whether they can score two. They actually showed a little bit of weakness, and don't forget they haven't kept a clean sheet in 7 games or whatever it is. So it's, listen, the only 2 players that stood out for me personally was obviously Kante and Madueke. They wasn't even close. Ray Charles could see that. It was last.
Oh my! Even if Thiago Silva was bad on the day, that goal line of clearance,
Yes.
I give him respect. He
Silva,
has it in
listen.
him. He reads the gun so well. He's always at the right place at the right
Yes,
time.
you're correct. You're correct. There needs to be an asterisk. I need to say, listen, it could have easily been 4. It could have been a rout if it wasn't for him. Because I think had they scored the 4th one, then the floodgate. Oh, if you think our heads had dropped,
And that's not Arsenal in full throttle, right?
I'm sorry, sir.
That's a poor Arsenal action. That's a poor Arsenal.
Yeah.
Not Arsenal in full force. If you can hear me.
In full flight. Yes,
Yeah.
I can now. Yeah. No, I agree. The second half, they I wouldn't say they were not professional, but they weren't going for the jugular, so to speak. So yeah, no, I agree. Bobby's absolutely correct. The intensity wasn't there. Their pressing wasn't there that it was in the first 20, 30 minutes. Good Lord. Listen, Kova, he gave the ball away so much. I thought listen, as much as I will defend Frank because of the fact of the reasons I've mentioned, however, one thing that a manager is responsible for, and that is the mindset of the players and team / squad. It is his or her responsibility to make sure that when the players cross that white line, that they're in the correct frame of mind and be as professional as possible. And I'm not sure that you can say we've down tools, but you can safely assume, however, that he may have lost the team with certain players. I think that's a fair assumption. Because listen,
no, it's an accurate assumption. If here's the thing, I get it when I've heard people talk about it, and I think it's a good thing. Sometimes when you see players talking to themselves, and even when it seems as if they're fighting, it's sometimes, or to a certain measure, it's a good thing.
Yes,
but it was too much on the pitch yesterday that you could say it wasn't about what Frank has to say to them. It was about what they decided to do on the pitch, because there were too many of the instances where players pointing fingers, blaming each other.
The fundamentals. You look at Sterling after the second goal. He was ball watching. He lost his man. That's unacceptable. The basics, the fundamentals from a veteran. So in the United States, when a president in November loses an election, he doesn't leave office till January, the 3rd week in January. And so that president is called a lame duck president because he cannot pass any bills, any legislation. He's a sitting duck. And I believe bringing in Frank, this is the analogy I'm using, bringing in Frank with a tenure of only 10 or so games, the players look at him and say, you're not going to be my future boss next year. Why should I try for you? He is
so many reasons to question his capabilities or authority, however you want to see it, but go ahead.
So I look at him as a lame duck coach in that sense, where players know that, guess what, you're not the the person that's going to deem my future a success or failure because we're going to get another manager. So he's a lame duck manager in that regard, and I use that analogy of an American president, and that's where the term is derived from. And I think, you were correct when you said at the beginning of the show, Coach, that I strongly believe, and listen, all jokes aside, Potter, it wasn't going well, but that's because for a myriad of reasons, and we've discussed this ad nauseum. I get it. However, the decision to let him go at the time in which they did was incorrect. Either keep him.
It just looks stupid right now. It's even Frank Lampard hiring Frank Lampard is actually clearly an even bigger mistake than hiring Potter. Honestly, but go ahead.
So this is what they should have done: either hire Big Sam, someone of that ilk, to shore up the ship, or let him finish.
It happens every time in football.
Yeah, or if you're going to let him go at the international break, not less than 48 hours when you play a next game. Now this isn't on the owners, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Bobby? I believe this is done at the executive level, meaning Vivell, Winstanley, et al. It's done by those professionals that are in the know, as opposed to the owners. If I'm not mistaken, it's their responsibility. And if it wasn't, and the owners did it over their heads, then why do you even have those executives at the club?
You mean appoint a new manager?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I don't get.
I mean, I got onto a space yesterday, and I think more than most people, I've stood in defense of the ownership because
yes, you have.
I empathize with the situation with which they had to buy the club, and I put a lot of blame on the doorstep of the government at the time.
Yes.
I think their attitude towards a simple football club was absolutely diabolical, and I still don't understand what was behind that, to be honest. But the ownership and the structure is now in place. So from here on in, the mistakes have to be very, very, very minimized.
Mm-hmm.
They can't be doing stupid things. Lampard, well, it's debatable whether it was right or wrong to employ him, but definitely Potter was the wrong manager, which is an accumulative effect as to why we are where we are now. However, yesterday in isolation was a disaster because of tactics and team selection, and that is 100% down to Frank.
Yes.
You can't do what he did. You can't play so open, and you can't use the personnel he used. It was very lazy. It wasn't thought through. He just went with people he felt he knew and those he felt he knew about. It was all wrong.
Bobby.
Yeah, and ignored players that were there. I mean, look how the youngsters came on. They could have won in the game if he had started them.
Also, we're paying for João Felix. We're paying a lot of golf balls for him. One of the largest loan contracts in history, if I'm not mistaken. And yet, two consecutive games he hasn't started.
Well, regardless of the the guy is still a very good player.
Very good. I like him.
Very effective against Arsenal. We lack that bite.
And it's not like we just played 3 days ago. We played 7 days ago. So that isn't an issue. So listen, the criticism is valid in his team selection in that case. I totally agree. I wouldn't even call it naive. I would call it borderline moronic, because to put Pierre-Emerick there, regardless.
And how long, Raheem, your cousin lasted on the pitch also is a big question.
I was hoping he came off at halftime at the latest. So yes, the one thing I want to quickly, if I may quickly say, is I think we all have to conclude / assume that Datra Fofana is not perceived to be a full squad member team player. It seems that way because he's not even on the bench.
That may well be the case. But I don't really blame Lampard for not selecting him, because probably has he been training with the first team? I don't know, but
I don't think so.
Let me catch up with what we have in the chat. We'll leave them alone for a while now. Felt sorry for Silva, almost doing all the defensive work of Fofana, giving the ball away. Again, I will not blame him. In terms of giving the ball away, it happened all over the pitch. The midfield, those on the flanks, even the best player on the day on one occasion made some mistakes, which I don't blame him. That's when, here's the thing, I think giving the ball away that happened all over the pitch is something that also reflects the fact that they are low on confidence. Yeah, like I said, the players' confidence is in the minors. And I get it. Let me just catch up with what we have this out here. I do believe Enzo is not being utilized properly. To me, I want him to play in a more advanced role, given the fact he's the more. I'm not saying he should go play as an 8, maybe, or maybe let him have. Just my point. Let him have the independence to be the more adventurous of the 2 6s whenever he's paired with someone else. But playing him as the lone 6, whatever the structure was yesterday, or how the application of the structure or the system, if there was any actually, I think he was one of the least effective, honestly. But that's not saying he's a bad player. I think we haven't found a way to use him correctly. Or maybe there's a chance he's actually burned out right now. He's mentally tired because he's one of the most overused players since he joined us. But how many games, you also have to ask the question, how many games has he played? Just need a proper players around him, and hopefully not eating too much of fish and chips. Wow. Let's see. The delusional fans are coming for Enzo. Nobody's coming for Enzo. We're just saying I don't see anybody coming for him. Did I say he's a bad player? No. If you paid attention, like I said, for instance, on occasions, even where we played with 2 6s, the 2 6s, as much as they've gone the days we played well, they were excellent attacking offensively, but defensively they don't do much to protect the defense. They don't read the game well enough to be at the right place at the right time to reduce the pressure that comes on our defensive defenders, if that makes sense. That's not saying everything we've been going through is down to him. No, that's not saying he's making a lot of mistakes. No, the whole thing comes down to the structure and how he's charged to operate, if that makes sense. Nobody is on him, no. This whole club stinks. Singling out a player is stupid. No. Who did that? Nobody did that. Maybe you came into the conversation midway and you just picked out from where you stopped. Mudryk and Madryk should start next game. Good luck seeing that happen. I'd be surprised. How many times, what does Frank need to see to realize actually that Mudryk should be starting games? I don't know what he needs to see. The experienced players, they haven't helped. Even if they're the ones that look like the older players are actually the ones that look as if it's over for this season. We have nothing to play for. It's common sense to actually give the younger players a chance because they will want to show you they're capable of being starters too. If you get my argument. This says, don't get why Felix is getting blasted. Guess what I'm seeing here in the chat? Roger, correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody has one player they like, or they don't like. And when you talk about in any way, even constructive criticism, even when you're saying that player needs to be played differently, those that like the player would jump to their defense and say you're slandering them. And I know DJ loves Felix so much, but let me just get his comment and not jump to conclusions. He says, don't get why Felix is getting blasted. He never even started or came on. Nobody's blasting him here. It looks like he came into the conversation midway to, that's how I see it. You see, as if I knew that was what you're going to say. Okay, now I'm fighting with IBZ. IBZ says, Coach, it's a player's fault. That's you, if that's what you think. If you think the whole thing, the whole issue, whatever we're going through now, the whole thing is down, down to the players underperforming. And I think otherwise, and we're all entitled to our opinions. So, in my opinion, what's the term that Roger usually uses? I think it's happening for a multitude of reasons. As the manager, for instance, as well as I thought he did in the first and second leg against Real Madrid with the three at the back structure, just the questions we had was the selection with regards to the attacking players, especially in that last game we played. I knew we were going to control the game, but the question is, where are the goals going to come from? It turns out that was the truth. We didn't. So why switch it to a back three? And during the pregame show, we talked about how we've always struggled whenever we tried to play with a back three, with a 4-3-3 structure. And we tried to make sense of it. Thought maybe matching Arsenal structure for structure, maybe that will make a difference. It turns out, it was a bad idea, playing Enzo alone essentially. So who's to blame? Everybody. The owners they have to take some blame. The manager have to take some blame. The players also have to take some blame. I get it. I get your argument when you're on the panel. They're getting paid a lot of money. But when you lose 5 games in a row, losing the next one, it's as easy as snapping your finger. And changing things, turning things around becomes even more difficult. Nobody's saying it's Potter's fault. If anything, you've heard me say we actually played better under Graham Potter. We started seeing progress, and it just seems as if it was actually a stupid idea not letting him finish the season. I was thinking he was going to finish the season. And believe me, I don't for a second believe had Potter remained the manager, even though I don't think he was the right person for the job. I don't think we'd lose 6 games in a row, because at least we're seeing some measure of coordination under him. It's everywhere, really. So you're not going to say, point at one factor and say that's just the sole reason why this whole thing has happened. Give Frank Lampard a passion, desire, and energy players. The next, he will talk about the lack of technicality. Okay, we're moving from that. Let's blame Potter for the capitulation. I never blamed him. Let's see. Potter is a better manager than Frank Lampard. That I can agree with, and their records show actually he's a better manager. But unfortunately, we moved on from him. London is red. Please, Arsenal win the Champions League before one. Even if you win the first one, London hasn't become red. But currently, you could say, if we're being honest, as much as I would like to say London is blue, currently you can't say that with confidence. But I just don't want to say what came to mind. But let them do that first. Okay, I'm going to move on to the banter there. You should go to where we talk about favorite people. What else do we have here? Let me see what we have in the chat here. This says, Mark James says, good afternoon, Coach. Good afternoon to you too. I am following you guys from Liberia. Always nice to see you. I think I remember that quite well. Please keep dropping the likes on the stream. We're at 52 likes right now. And also, if you haven't, do subscribe. The likes will go a long way. Roger, where are you, bro? There was some serious criminal activities in North last night. Roger doesn't want that case. They don't respect Lampard. You could say that. And when I asked that question on Twitter, I had to go back those in the group to come to my aid. Some were mentioning my nationality, but that's fine. We'll move on. He's not aggressive and commanding. These players don't care. They're not motivated enough to even care about the badge. Good luck that happening. I'm not into get anybody out now because it doesn't make I don't think you will take any measure of influence on what the club does. We cannot carry on with Sherwell as our left back for next season. Otherwise, it's going to be bad. Let me advise us on one thing. I think we should be cautious of singling out players, no matter how badly the player plays. There's a chance under a new manager they start cooking. I don't know if you get my argument.
Yeah,
I don't think it's okay to single out players because the team as a unit has been so crap. It's not funny. The whole team. Even Thiago Silva, you could sense it's not his usual self. Something is still missing from him. Usually he's able to lead from the back line, but that didn't happen yesterday. And I'm still thinking it was a bad idea. I still think it was a bad idea to have gone with a 4-3-3 structure. One more thing, let me get a few stuff here, then I'll come back to you guys. It says, to all my Chelsea fans around the world, we need to offer a serious prayer for Chelsea. If not, I can see us going to the championship. Well, I don't blame you for saying that. These are some of us claiming London is red. How hilarious. Last time they won the Premier League, 2003 or 2003, 2004 season. Last time they were in the Champions League, 2017, never won. Never won with, and they are giving it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna move on, but let's bring on Ty. Ty, your thoughts. We're still talking about the players' confidence. What do you think? How do you think that can be overcome? I'm gonna get your thoughts without saying how I feel about that. I know you must have heard me talk about it.
Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, crystal clear.
Okay. Yeah, I joined previously when there was a lot of discussion, and on the panel now. When I came in, I looked at some of the comments, and I'm just seeing the same thing where people are blaming certain individuals. If it's not Lampard, then it's Potter. If it's not Potter, then it's individual players. I think that
Mhm.
there's this problem stems from not the players per se, because obviously, well, party is on the players because if they don't perform well, then you're gonna lose. But I think the problem stems from the owners, and some people will be divided with me saying that. And I think it's important to remember that we have owners, and I've always said it myself that we have owners that are immature. They are immature is not the word to use. They're inexperienced to owning a football club. So they don't understand the certain things. And there's been a lot of factors. We could look back to the fact that they fired certain backroom staff. They fired individuals that helped to make the club be filled with stability and being able to go in one journey or to go in one path. And they got in their own people. I always question the medical staff that they were planning to bring in, celebrity physios and whatever. It never made sense. They came in with their expectations that if they had spent 600 million or made signings that equates up to 600 million, you'd have a fiery team. We have a big squad where you cannot give all players a balance in terms of game time. You have a lot of players that were signed or still adjusting to the league, adapting, and trying to grasp what the team is about and what to do. And then you have players who don't want to be at the club at all. And some of them wanted to leave in the winter window. They didn't get their move. Some collapsed. Some just didn't happen at all. So there's a lot of issues that goes beyond the players and just beyond the manager. You have injuries that came up, and that was down to poor handling of those players, forcing back early because you don't have anybody there, and it goes on to poor planning as well. This was bound to happen for years. People don't accept it, but it was bound to happen for years. I think truth is blinded some fans into believing that Chelsea were rosy and they were close to being title challengers. Yes, on paper we were first 2 seasons and then we dropped off in both seasons. But at the same time, there were issues. There were moments where we limited things and we never really fulfilled those things. And the new ownership, it's they're gonna have these issues. And I think another factor is the fact that they haven't really given those people that they've hired the time to do what they were brought in to do. They're always interrupting it. They're always presenting themselves to say that they're vocal owners. It goes back to hearing that they go into the dressing room and make speeches and things like that. That it's not your job. You're the owners. The only time you should be going in the dressing room is if you're going to congratulate players on a performance or congratulate them on success. You don't go in there and give your say that go, you need to do this, or just an example, say I'm going to sell if you don't do this. you can't do those things. The whole ownership is messed up. And I'm not saying that this only on the owners, but it does stem there as well. And they're one factor that you have to remember, because they came in, they fired people, and now they're struggling because they didn't give those people the opportunity to give their input on what needed to be done. And even with the manager that was brought in, which was Graham Potter, the directors came in after him. So even if they wanted to suggest somebody else, they couldn't do that, because they were fooled into believing that if you give Graham Potter this time, he's gonna bring you immediate success, and that was not realistic. So yes, the players have an issue, but it's not just the players. Lampard is not the greatest manager. We can't fool ourselves and think that, but he's not the only problem. It doesn't matter who you bring in at this very moment. You're gonna have these same issues. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take a period of Chelsea becoming a mediocre team,
Exactly.
quote unquote, where they have to build. We're in 12th position for a reason. There's an issue. We had Potter, and like you said, Potter was, you could see a little structure and you could see some system what he wants to do with the team. But even then, you could see that players were dropping, players were going backwards, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't
And
just to
just
go
quickly, Ty,
backwards and go backwards and sideways.
just one second. We're not IBC. We're not blaming Lampard for the players' mindset. You can't do that. But we know again he's not perfect. As much as we want to, he didn't hire himself in the first place. But go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, exactly. So in that sense, that is why I'm saying, because you know it's easy to just pinpoint on one person and say this is the reason why this is happening, because they did this and they did that. No, I'm not saying the owners are the only problem, but I'm saying that it's not just one problem. There is a problem with the club. It was bound to happen before. People don't want to hear, but even under Roman, we had this issue of the hiring and firing of managers. Yes, it may have brought you success, but it also affected having consistency, because you don't think a manager should have an off season. You don't think a manager should have a season where they struggle. In order to get consistency, you need to have struggle, and if you don't do that, then it's not going to work. So yes, there's problems, and even the latter stages of the Roman era, you had those problems. Now, Roman was a good manager. We know, not manager, he's a good owner, but at the same time, the mentality that we have and the attitude of firing managers quickly when things don't work out. There's a lot of issues. So this was bound to happen. But at the same time, I think it's important that fans need to understand that Chelsea are not the same team anymore. They're going to struggle. I said this on Twitter and people attacked me. You need to be able to understand that Chelsea may have to become a mediocre team. They may have to struggle for a while before they can get back to where you want them to be. Because it's not going to be easy. We've never really been at the top consistency, even though we've won 5 Premier League titles and then whatever. But you need to understand that it's going to take time. So yes, the manager that we have at the helm, the caretaker manager, is not the greatest manager, but he's not the only problem. The players are not the only problem. This is a problem that stems from everything. People say we're sacking Tuchel. People say that signing players are not finding a good system that to mold them into and to give them a little structure to work with. But at the same time, it's more than one problem. So I don't think we should blame the players or the manager only. We think we need to look at all the factors from May of last year up to now. So it's just the reality. And I've always said the narrative is poetic. I mean, we won all trophies, quote unquote, minus the Conference League and whatever, to complete the trophy collection, and now we've gone pear shaped in terms of performances and quality. It's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of Chelsea right now.
Mhm. So some breaking news in the chat, and they're saying Fabrizio Romano just reports that Real Madrid have sealed the Jude Bellingham deal. Let me confirm here. Um, yeah, I knew it would be difficult for Chelsea to get him. Let me see if I can find it there. Yep, Real Madrid are close to completing a deal to sign Jude Bellingham. Confirmed negotiations are progressing into the final stages. Personal terms are almost agreed. Juni Calafat, crucial again. A new meeting has been scheduled to complete the agreement with Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, one player I knew coming to Chelsea was going to be difficult before time. So let me get a few stuff where I have in the chat. I'll bring in what's his name, I'll bring in Francis to give us the start. Great coaches always find a way to grind out results. Lampard has a win rate in 2023 of 0%. But just be a bit fair and at least go back to 2022. But yeah, I get it. Some players are performing horrible all year. IBC, I get where you're coming from. We have issues with players too, but this is practically, you could argue, a new team. In so many ways, really. I get it. We still have some of those players that had issues, but I don't think for any second that what we're going through now is, solemnly due to the players, or maybe just stems or just all about the players. No, the issues stem from so many of factors, and we've talked about that. It's Frank, it's the players, it's the owners, it's everywhere right now. But I get where you're coming from. Let's see what else we have here. That long cross from Kovacic to Madueke shows we really need a good number 9. We also need, a 10 or an 8 that during games we don't see that long cross. We don't see a chance creation from central areas only 2-3 times in a game. No, that's not okay. We're very predictable because majority of chances we create all come from the flanks and mainly on the carpet, and it's very predictable. And actually, the crosses we can't even execute crosses. It looks like the players standing before our own player is a target. It just doesn't make any sort of sense. Let's see, Igunu here says yep, I've read that one. This says some players are performing horribly all year. You slug out the argument there. Big Sam, I would take him because at least he will be more pragmatic. Big Sam isn't the one to always try to keep it pretty. When the priority is to win and make things better, he'd be as pragmatic as he should be. I gave up when he brought in Ziyech. Well, I was just watching. I was just following the game on my device where I was at that time, saying if that's what's going to help us, let's see it. Roger will surely blame Chelsea players for Lampard's shocking results at Everton. Here's the thing: you're not paying attention to everything he said. He says what the players are.
Can I defend myself? This chap attacks me quite often, and if you listen to what I'm saying, listen, I'm not saying it solely, but you're attacking someone. You look at his Everton record. Have a look at that. But what's his name? Ancelotti was Everton manager. I didn't see him winning the league. Why? He's probably one of the greatest coaches ever. So why didn't he win everything? Why? Why is that? You know why? Because players play, coaches coach. Don't be a schmuck. It's simple as that. Frank beat Ancelotti at Everton. Why? How is that possible? Frank is not as good as coaches as Ancelotti. Why? Because players, it's execution. And you know what? If you have a look at Frank at Everton, guess what? He lost Richarlison, Anthony Gordon. What's their attacker? I forgot their attacker, the English chap. He's
Calvert-Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin. The guy is in the medical room more than a freaking car crash. It's ridiculous. Listen, he didn't have the backing from the owners. I'm not sticking up for him. I'm just giving you reasons. They're not excuses. There's a difference between an excuse and a reason. These are facts that I'm stating. Is he a great manager? No. Is he an elite manager? No. But you know what? He coached Chelsea and he did quite well with us. In fact, we made top 4. Was it 3rd or 4th? I forget. You could argue that they did it because of Arsenal choking. I get that. And so forth. They were a bit fortuitous, but still, he did it with a limited. He's a young coach. I'm not saying he's an elite coach. I've never said that. But there's reasons, that it's simple as that. And this is a large squad. You bring in right now, hypothetically, when Frank came in, if you'd bring in a Pep or a Jurgen, you're not going to be able to do something because, not my opinion, virtually every professional pundit that has ever played the game at the highest level has said that you can't coach basically 2 squads. It's just too big of a deal to do. I've not seen anyone counter that. And we're talking about elite former players. So that's the issue. So if you bring in an experienced person, a very good a player, a coach with, tactical acumen, someone with pedigree, however you want to term it, they will still struggle. I'm not saying they wouldn't succeed. I'm telling you, they would struggle. Listen to every word that I state. When when I actually speak, I use my vocabulary specifically. So don't take my words out of context.
Yeah, here's the point here. Just you don't have to respond to that. Really, here's the thing. The issue isn't solely on the players, not solely on the manager, not solely on the owners. It's everywhere. It's as simple as that.
But Coach,
and everybody has every right to point out
sure,
what they think is the problem is.
Coach,
Yeah.
I think we need to stop. Unless we hear otherwise, we need to stop saying owners, because if I'm not mistaken, we have a structure in place now where I think any executive decisions are made by these Win Stanley, etc. Do you understand? Vivel. These are the people that are making the decisions since January. Now,
No, when I reference the owners, is the decisions that you can say where the whole issue started. No. In terms of, if we're going to talk about hiring Frank Lampard, then if Vivel stood there and didn't have a say and didn't say whether he thinks it's going to work or not, then he shouldn't have the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so every decision that was made from such, you have to be specific why you're mentioning the owners if you do that.
I get it. But from
because
now
we don't have too much time, I'm going to bring in Francis and then go to JC. Maybe we still have a few minutes time to get thoughts from more people there.
Yes.
So Francis, your thoughts? We were talking about the players' confidence. That's the biggest issue right now. Because if nothing is done to address that, we may well see another loss. We actually can lose to even a team in Division 10 with that with the level of confidence we're seeing right now. How do we overcome that? Because it's important. Even if Poch comes in now, his priority will be to address the confidence issue. Otherwise, drill them all you want, except if they pick up confidence on their own, feeling like now maybe they have a better tactician, maybe they have a better chance of winning the next game. That can instill confidence in them. But the manager's priority must be to address the confidence issue. But what do you think we should do to overcome that? Because it's a serious problem.
Yes, I'll keep it simple. Sell them. The reason why I would say sell them is because
How many players?
Frank Lampard is the guy who was responsible for bringing in this transfer of Ziyech and all these guys, if you guys remembered. And before he brought those guys, we had top four. Frank Lampard used that.
Can we be specific here?
How
many players? Can you mention the players in question?
No, Frank Lampard did mention that these players are not ready
for.
But
go ahead. Let me not interrupt so that you get your point across before I come in. Go ahead.
Yeah, Frank Lampard did mention that these players were not ready to compete before he got sacked when we brought in Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
And then after he got sacked, Thomas Tuchel came in. Thomas Tuchel did the impossible. And then Thomas Tuchel also started talking about these same players. He said, we have the same players and we won't be able to compete and we are not even ready for the Premier League. And our game was like 4 days or a week of the Premier League. And he said Chelsea players were not ready. And then we sacked Thomas Tuchel. This is where the owners did a mistake and bring Graham Potter. And then we sacked Potter. Then we bring in Frank Lampard. We have to be honest now. This new coach that we bring in, Pochettino, Lamborghini, I don't know what his name is. He's going to struggle with these same players. I'm just being honest. If we've sacked 4 or 5 coaches because they are not able to win us games, why are we trying to act like we're here trying to solve a scientific issue? It's not a scientific issue.
How many of those players do we have in the squad?
I'll probably tell you we have 11 players that have to go.
Can you name them? Let's just to be specific.
Well, I would say
Kovacic.
I would say
hold on.
I'm starting with the midfield. Kovacic has to go.
Does he have to start? Does he have to start?
he doesn't have to start no more. Why we have to start him for?
Okay,
He has to
if he
go.
doesn't have to start, then the manager selected him. You remember that? But go ahead. Bring another name up.
Okay. Love to Cheek has to go.
Does he have to start? Was he on the pitch? Was he
He
even on the
doesn't have to.
bench? Thank you. So you go ahead.
Right.
Bring another name up.
Christian Pulisic has to go.
Was he even on the bench? He wasn't.
He wasn't.
Yeah, and we
Ziyech
still
has to
performed
go.
badly. Name another player.
Hakim Ziyech has to go.
Did he start? No.
Raheem Sterling.
Raheem Sterling
Yeah,
has
he
to
started, but does he have to start? He doesn't have to start. We have Modric.
go.
Does
Aubameyang has to
have
go.
to start? No. So we made it look worse than it is. Maybe it's easy actually to start saying the problems lie with the players. What truly, if you paid attention and be as logical as possible, you'd really see the issue isn't really doesn't only lie with the players. The issue again, it's multitude. There are multitude of reasons why we're out where we are today.
It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
When you
But
think
I
about,
don't think it's a solid argument saying the whole thing comes down to the players. It's been because it sounds as if it's a credible argument once you start mentioning. Even Thomas Tuchel said it. They struggled under Thomas Tuchel. They struggled under Graham Potter. No, just pay attention. Be as logical as possible. You come to the conclusion that the fact is, the truth remains. These players aren't only they're not the issues. Don't just lie with the players only. We're suffering. Where we are today for a multitude of reasons. But right now it's gotten worse because the players, their confidence is shockingly low. That even if you play a Division 10 team next, the chances of us losing is 99.9% because we've not been winning. If you get my argument, but go ahead, Francis. Sorry for cutting you off.
I get what you are saying, but let's remember that we beat Real Madrid with his team with Thomas Tuchel, and also we won the Champions League with his same team. The rotation didn't come when we needed to let them go.
Not quite the same players though up front.
Really not, yes. But what I'm trying to say here is like this is why we have transfer windows that you exchange players or you sell players or you do whatever. We haven't got no new midfield. I'm not saying that the players that we have is trash. What I'm saying is they are not fitting into the system because we've kept on sacking coaches after coaches after coaches, maybe. But the truth is here is that everything is just all in the mix right now. And if we keep on playing players that who's been here since 2016 or 17 or 18. And yesterday's game, if you watch yesterday's game, right, this was a Sunday League team. Chelsea was a Sunday League team right there. And in these same players that was on that field, I believe they've played football for how many years? Some of them went to the academy. You telling me that a coach has to tell you to run and win the ball because there's no tactics? You wearing a Chelsea's jersey, bro. You playing for one of the biggest clubs. For you just to walk, that is an insult. For me, look, if we had DJ Drogba and all these legends, and Frank Lampard was a coach, these guys would not walk against Arsenal like this. You know, and then if these players did it, how about the young ones that we have, Chukwuemeka and all these guys? What are they gonna do when they come in the field? That's what I'm saying right there. That at least if you lose the game.
No, your point was clear. We're just trying to be as subjective as possible. And if we all agree, we don't have a show. We're here to learn from one another, from each other. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, my bro.
If we clear this midfield, we clearly needed midfield last transfer. We went for defense and then we went for forwards and then boom. This midfield hasn't changed. So even if you bring in Pep Guardiola, you think Pep Guardiola gonna make a miracle out of these same players that we have? Absolutely not. So sometimes you just have to let go of certain players and bring in players who understand the game. At this level, playing for Chelsea Football Club, we don't have to teach you from A, B, C, D to Z no more. You need to already know certain things what to do. And yesterday was an example. If you have a coach that has no tactics, then at least you should defend or do something. But that was not even present.
Yeah, we need a whole reset. Reset this roster. Get a new
manager.
Don't forget. Can I just quickly say something? The common denominator is the players. Even though there's been a huge amount of addition since Tuchel left, the players weren't performing well under Tuchel, under Potter, under, well, you can't really say Bruno because he only had one game, and then under Frank. So the common denominator is the players. But having said that, managers / coaches, they need time to implement. You know, it takes literally 1 or 2 seasons to implement your philosophy and getting to know the players, knowing when to make a run, knowing what to do. So, you know, we all want an immediate fix within X amount of days or weeks. It doesn't happen that way. Otherwise, every team will be buying players and then inserting a championship team. It just simply doesn't
Right.
work that way.
Let's give Jesse a chance. He hasn't spoken since he came on. Maybe after he speaks, we'll still have time to bring others in. Jesse, your thoughts. We're talking about the players' confidence, and I think this Francis, if you're still there, I think it's gone. I think we need to actually do a stream where the discussion would be why it is and why it is not the players' fault, why it is and why it is not the manager's fault. That would do us for 2 shows. I think it will make for a good debate. But JC, what the discussion it's about the players' confidence. What do you make of it? But if you want to get into the argument of the debate whether it is the manager's fault or the players' fault, you go ahead, whichever you choose. You have the floor now. You joined late, but welcome, brother.
Yeah, this debate in itself gives me some clarity. Like, we are in a phase where now the fan base is being dismantled. The common denominator is not the players, the manager. The common denominator is Boli and his company. They start from the top, and it has been highly unprofessionally handled. Everything has been dismantled, and whatever they are assembling is also yes men. How many directors we have? 3. One of those directors is for international business. I mean, their vision is to have multi-club structure, and they are handling minute issues, micromanaging everything. I mean, you want to have 10 clubs and micromanage everything, and you need to have 3 directors, because if one is not listening, then the other 2 make a majority to listen to you. Come on, we passed the phase where the structure, the hierarchy was broken. Then the middle level management and the structures were broken, dismantled. Now the team is being dismantled, and it is shifting now towards the fan base, and the fan base will be dismantled, highly divisive, everybody emotionally charged. I'm concerned for next season, and I hope Boli stays away from this club as much as possible.
Mm. Go ahead. Are you still there, or is that your
I
2
cannot
cents?
say, regarding your specific question, whether it was players. I mean, look, players, you can argue that the players were giving their best until yesterday. But yesterday, I do not say that they intentionally didn't run or give everything. Maybe they are just lost, already gone case, totally like freaked out brains. Can't name Lampard. He tried something new at least. Anyway, we are losing.
Mhm.
The
So
problem is
how do we?
one of these.
Yeah,
The
go
problem
ahead.
is at the top. Problem is at the top. They can't hire and they cannot agree with Pochettino. Last I hear is Pochettino is concerned, like he wants to have certain control over the team. And I can understand, if you want the team, if you want him to perform, he should be able to manage him. And if he is going to be micromanaged, then he does not want probably his career destroyed again. I'm starting to worry. I mean, will there be? I hope. I was not very much in favor of coach. I was hoping Enrique or somebody will come. But right now, I am hoping at least he comes. Who will join us? No sane person will join a mess. I am afraid for next season. And by next season, I mean, you start first 5 games, you lose 2, 3, and then the fan base goes. The sales go. The shirt sales go, the sponsors, they won't be able to find good sponsors. There's no good players. Which good player is going to come?
They're gonna find sponsors. Come on.
So JC, I
It's
get
not
what you're
impossible.
saying.
I say it is to summarize this owner structure, and it's not. Let's stop talking about they have invested so much. It's not his money. He has a small percentage. I do not know how many pension funds money he's using.
But
It's
JC,
not
listen,
even his own money totally. I mean, you get it. I mean, it's easy for him to throw around money. It's not his totally money. His money.
yeah, but JC, since January, the owners aren't involved in decision making.
Yeah.
You know, they're not the ones that are not running on the pitch or not headering the ball or not saving something or not scoring. They are not responsible.
What qualifications does Boli has more than you to be in that dressing room or on the pitch?
Okay, but we're talking about on-field
He owns
performance.
multiple teams.
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
Listen, let me ask you this: how do we overcome the confidence issue?
Confidence will come step by step. You have to rebuild. Everything has been lying. It's shattered. Everything is lying around.
I don't even think it's confidence. Like,
No,
It-
we see
victories,
big part of it
when you
right
have a-
now is confidence. Losing 6 games in a row, and the way we played, we didn't play like as if we were going to get anything out of that game.
Start the under 23.
it's the pride. They don't have pride.
Start the academy players.
Yeah, professional pride.
Start the
Pride
academy
for the
players
badge.
because the academy staff is wanting to go. They are fed up with this setup.
It's not that they're not confident. They don't have pride to do it. They don't feel like the need to do something. It's not that they're scared to do it. They don't feel the need to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I mean, you are saying as if you are sitting there and you're saying what I am judging. My assessments are based on what I see, which we can argue is very much clear. They are lost. They do not know what they are doing. But saying
I think we have to.
this issue or that issue is all
yeah.
speculation. There is one thing, one common denominator. This mess starts from Boli. Whenever you have some company which has like underperformed hugely, a system which has been broken, whom do you blame? The leader.
Yeah, I think with a bunch of changes, like having a new owner, then having a new sacking Tuchel and all, having just a bunch of changes going on, just created a bunch of instability.
No matter where you start talking
Created
about
instability.
The onus is on the person who has managed all this.
Yeah, but that's
Here's
since
the thing,
January.
overall, no
Boli.
matter where,
That's
no matter
Boli.
what, from whatever angle you start looking at the issue we're having right now, it will still come back to the owners. Whatever angle you start looking at the situation, it will still lead you back to the owners. But that's, by the way, we don't have too much time now. Rocha, I don't know if you have said anything with regards to how this
Coach,
can
let
be
Bobby
overcome.
speak. Bobby wants to come in.
Okay, I didn't hear that. Okay, Bobby, you go ahead.
Yeah, because you've just been ignoring me all stream.
Yeah, but you do come, he's going to find a way to blame me, and he knows he can come in whenever he wants to.
You got to start from the top.
I don't always overtake. Listen, I don't buy this overtly extreme sort of doom and gloom. The whole world is about to end. Point of view. I don't look at it as constructive, to be brutally honest. It's quite clear what has happened. It's a chaotic situation that's been created by a chaotic situation. You know, people talk about, oh, what experience do they have running football clubs? And well, I can't think of many people that came to own football clubs that came from a position of experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Saudis that own Man City and that, you don't come from experience, you just come from money. And with the money, you put the right things in place to get the club running properly. Let's not lose sight of what happened to Chelsea. People are blaming the owners, I blame the government. The government sanctioned our former owner, not once, but twice, and put the club in a precarious situation where they had to hurry a sale or go completely bankrupt. They started business in the transfer market 4 months after everybody else, when the market had already started well into business. That was when they jumped on the train. They hadn't put their directorship in place, and one of the owners had to go and start doing business. All that was a recipe for difficulties. It's difficult enough owning a football club. There's no formula to owning a football club. You just do it as your genius gets you to make it work. But we came from the back foot, trying to go to the set front foot, and we've been struggling with that ever since to this point. I always point out to people it has not been a year that these people have taken the helm. People blame them for buying the players that they bought in January. Oh, they brought in too many players, yada, yada, yada. They had to act quickly. They had the directorship in place, and they saw that there was an opportunity to build for the short term, the long term, and the medium term, and a loophole with which they could use with FFP to do that. And so they
Exactly.
splurged on a certain
That's
number
not a
of
loophole.
young players and brought them into the club before, as always, anything that Chelsea do that goes forward in progression, it was stopped and turned against us.
Thwarted. Yeah.
Nobody cared when Barcelona was pulling financial levers left, right, and centre. Oh, that was all right.
Bobby, can I
But
ask you
because
something?
Chelsea buy a player and put him on a long-term contract in order to spread the cost, it's like, oh, Chelsea's doing this, Chelsea's doing that, let's stop it. So that's why they had to act quickly. Now, the fact that there are too many players is testimony to the fact that they've had a lot to do. They've had too much to do to try and catch up. So some of the problems is understandable.
Bobby, can I ask you
The,
something?
just let me just land. It's no surprise that we are where we are. However, the errors that have made within the process of trying to get the club on an even keel are costly. You know, any venture you go into will hit a rocky period at some point. But when you are in an adventure that is strewn with the potential for error, it becomes an even more difficult situation. Is it rectifiable? Of course it is. By the summer, they just clear out players, just like he cleared out players, Mr. Bowley, when he started. He inherited a lot of problems from the previous regime that people
Bobby,
are
we are repeating
acting
this.
as if.
Facts.
We are repeating
Sorry?
actually all this. Now, can I very quickly ask? Bowley, day one, when he entered the doors of Chelsea Football Club, the club was in a certain shape, and today the club is on another shape, and it is 10 times, even 1,000 times worse. Under whose leadership
I
has this
Yeah,
gone?
there's
disagree.
context to that.
This has been under his leadership. He is responsible. He has
I
broken.
disagree. The club was not in good shape when he took over. Yet
It is
again,
much
that
worse
was a
right now.
fault of
Do
the
you agree or
government
not?
because
Is
the
it better right now?
sanctions. Well, let me finish.
He has got
You
1 year in
interrupt
this
me.
Let
club.
him
Has he
finish.
Let's
made
talk
it
one
better?
by one,
You
please.
have
Let's
to
talk
let
one
me
by one.
finish. You have to let me finish. You have to let me finish. I mean, you were talking, nobody jumped in. You know, the club was in problems in the first place, and that problem was yet again created by the first sanction to the owner by the government. The owner was about to build a whole new stadium for the club when he was sanctioned the first time and decided to be careful not to do it because he wasn't sure the asset would remain with him, and he was actually quite right. So let's not pretend all these things were not put upon the club. Just then, when these people took over, they're trying to now create an even keel, and it's not easy. Come the summer, what they need to do is two things. One, put in the right manager, and two, sell off the players that are dead wood, many of which don't even want to be here in the first place, and many of which are not good enough. It sounds well, it is that simple. It is that simple.
It
Bring
has
down the
taken him 1
squad
year.
to, sorry?
He has been working 1 year. He's not been able to do the simple things. I hope next
What are
year
you talking
is
about? He's been
better. But
working one
from what
year.
we have
He's
seen
not
in
been
the
able
first
to do
year,
the simple things. Mate, What planet are you on? Things take time. You're talking about 1
You
year.
said simple, huh? You said simple, not me.
Can you imagine the chaos these people have inherited?
Created.
I
Okay,
don't know if you ever owned a
JC, let him
business
drop, then you can
or
come in and voice your opinion. Let him finish. Okay, Bobby, go ahead, drop. We don't have too much time, please.
people just say things from a platform of I don't know what. If you've ever owned a business or created anything in your life, you will understand the difficulty it takes to build. And it sometimes takes years. It sometimes takes a whole load of failures along the way. These people have come in and in a short space of time, they've put a lot of things in place and they're working at a pretty fast pace. Of course, things are not going to go smoothly. You know, somebody said, yes, we're going to have to go through a period where we're not quite as good. Well, you can bet your bottom dollar they are.
Okay,
But
after
this
you
can
finish, I will
change
have counter
very,
agreement.
very quickly. You know, football is a very interesting sport in that as bad as you can be today is as good as you can be tomorrow. Things can change really quickly in football with a few good results. I just think we need to survive the season. That's what I keep saying. Get to the summer, get a proper coach in, whittle down the team to an elite 26 number of players, go into preseason training, not just traveling up and down, and then face the next season and see what we do without overt expectations, knowing that, look, we're in a process, we're in a journey. People keep talking about the process. Well, the process is real. That's what it takes to build.
Okay, now very quickly, follow up on your points. You definitely said the correct thing. It takes years to build. Before you start dismantling, you think it will take years to rebuild. And the club was not so in a bad position that you need to totally dismantle it. Definitely no. And from what I have seen for the last 1 year, what they have done, it fills me not with confidence that they will take it up. They might, I mean, this is still not the bottom. We are every day seeing lower and lower and even more bottom. So having a blind faith in a guy who has been screwing up, sorry but the bad word, but he has been making every decision wrong from the day one, and then blaming the government for, like, you build your own house, or you repair it, or you like improve it, but you don't just dismantle
So what was
everything.
he supposed to do
I
when
mean,
he
you
first
can't.
got
I
the
cannot
club?
blame government.
Keshan, just let him drop. If you have anything to say, once you
If
drop, you can come in.
I cannot blame
if
government.
he's
Government is not
defending the
going to come and
government,
work for my
Yeah,
home.
Bobby,
then
let's let him
then
speak, please. I think he let you finish. Just let him speak. Once he's done, you can
oh,
come in.
not
Go
quite.
ahead, JC.
Government is not responsible for your business. You are responsible for
Government
your
is
business. You destroy it, it's
150%
your fault.
responsible, my friend. What are you
Now
Bobby,
you're
can
talking
you
not
about?
let
letting me
him
speak,
drop?
huh,
Even
Bobby?
if it is the
Listen,
government,
Now
let
you're
him
not
drop. You
letting
can
me
come in
speak,
and
huh?
say it's not the government.
What the hell's he talking about? This club
Bobby,
couldn't do
now you're
anything
not
for
letting me speak,
months.
huh?
Bobby,
Bobby,
can you let him speak?
it's very hard to hear the other point, huh?
Go ahead, JC,
I'm not
please.
talking about what happened with the government. The moment the government left, the club was taken over. The club was still in a good shape, much better shape than it is today. So the performance of this leadership during this tenure has been awful. Does it fill me with confidence for the next year? No. Do I want that we improve? Yes. But the facts speak for themselves. They have dismantled the club. And right now, they are dismantling the fan base.
If there's one thing that can't be dismantled, it's the fan base. You know, the people that will be dismantled are the people that should be dismantled, because I personally think the fan base has been infiltrated by a load of people that aren't proper fans. That's my opinion. And you know, the sooner those people leave and go and support somebody else, the better for Chelsea Football Club. But that is another issue. The issue of them dismantling the club. Look, anybody that comes and takes over something new is going to come in and change things. Now, you forget the reason they came in the first place. They came in because of issues to do with political reasons, not sporting reasons. So I think they were under a certain amount of pressure to get rid of the old and bring in the new. Now, does that transcend into the medical staff and one or two other backroom staff that have been removed? I think too much noise has been made about that. When Roman took over Chelsea, he changed a lot of backroom situations that existed from the Ken Bates period, a lot. But nobody really bothered with that because we were going through a crest of sensational success. So if XYZ groundkeeper was replaced by XYZ groundkeeper, which actually happened, the groundkeeper was changed for Chelsea for a new groundkeeper, but nobody really cared at the time, just like it's happened now. So I think those things are negligible things. Where I do hold them accountable was in the way they dealt with the management of the first team, the getting rid of Tuchel and the bringing in of someone like Graham Potter, who was a far lesser coach. That was a monumental mistake. And that, I think, has been instrumental to a lot of the playing problems that we've had. But in terms of the structural structural situation of the club, in like the backroom staff and some of the people that have been changed, that's very negligible. I repeat, the situation is not unsalvable. Of course it is. It's very, very rectifiable. You need to get the right manager to deal with the playing staff. The manager needs to be somebody that is more involved with the things in and around the playing staff, which comes to the elite manager type. In a way, that was part of the problem with Thomas Tuchel. Tuchel didn't want that level of responsibility. He just
Correct.
wanted to be more of a coach than a manager. But these people need a manager and a coach. And that's probably why it's taking so long for them to appoint someone, because they want to be sure that that happens. Will there be problems along the way? Yes, there are problems. Yes, there are too many people in the changing rooms at the moment. Of course there are. Everybody knows it's not quite right, but it's not something that will not be solved. If you could sell players now and not have to wait for the transfer window, they would do it, but they can't. And so that is no excuse for that performance against Arsenal, none whatsoever. The performance against Arsenal was a purely footballing issue in which Lampard selected the wrong team and played the wrong tactics, period.
No, I disagree totally your point of view, Bobby, because you work in a structure in a company, and when everything is being changed so fast without any planned phases. Yes, when the owners come, they would like to make changes. It's welcome. It's always correct, and but there is a system to do it. There is a step-by-step process to do it. There was a time when we didn't have anybody in that back room, nobody in the management, and asking Tuchel to do everything was unreal, to be honest. Right now
Do you
we
know
hear
the reason for that?
different kind of we hear hypotheses, but these are all hypotheses. I am looking
But
at it. Bobby, I am looking at it from
you're
a
not
very,
looking at it.
very standby. Let me speak, please.
You're
Let me speak,
negating
please.
a lot of
Please listen
things.
to me. If you will not listen to me, you will not understand the other point of view. If you will not understand the other point of view, you will probably have the same problem Boli has right now.
What are you talking about?
Jesse, drop your point. I want Roger to round up
Somebody
the show
needs
for
to,
us, please. We don't have too much time. I have to take my son
somebody
to school.
needs to show him his errors.
You're seeing it so black and white. You know, there's more context to it.
Yes, there is
Exactly.
more
Mourinho
context.
and Czech
Very
left.
Here's one thing I want us
complex.
to start doing. No matter your opinion, give others a chance to voice their
Yes,
opinion.
there is more
It's as simple as that.
complexity.
Just
Yes,
give us.
it's
It
not
doesn't.
easy.
Yeah, nobody's correct here.
Yes, no, there is no doubt in my mind that it is a very complex structure. Everything is not easy. And that is why I say you don't just come in and let everybody go or just kick out everybody. You need to have a certain plan for that.
He didn't. They left.
That's a good point you mentioned. But is the management of the club being handled like that? No, not
All
like
right.
that.
All right. Thank
It's
you,
just fire,
Jesse.
fire, fire,
Keshan,
fire.
Jesse, Keshan, you wanted to say something before Roger rounds off the show for us,
No,
please.
I'm just saying he didn't kick them out. Marino and Czech, they just left. He didn't
Exactly.
fire them.
Yeah, but
They,
I
according
mean,
to the balance,
you can
if
say
And
I'm
he
you can
had
say
to
saying,
that's
do the
the
job,
case.
and he was
listen,
trying to
listen,
act in that
just to
position
verify this,
himself.
I have very concrete for this verification. The income statement annual report on the annual report of the club shows Marina was paid 30 million pounds for her services for the change and handover of the merger procedure. They could have
Wow, that's
easily
a
asked
grift.
her. They could have
That's a
easily
grift
asked her
if
to
ever
stay
there
a
was
little
one.
bit longer. She earned good money.
Mate, you lack perspective. You lack perspective completely. You're
Um,
looking at things as if it's
I
clear
say,
and
I say
smooth
the
sailing.
management has lacked the perspective in their decision making.
all right, Roger, can you come in? Roger, can you round off the show by also talking about the importance of us being open-minded and it's a show, it's a debate. There's no way everybody on the panel will agree. We can all. At one time, Roger and I nearly punched each other if we were sitting nearby. But we understand.
Coach,
Yeah,
coach,
but we
you're
understand.
stating the
We
obvious.
after that, again before we both understand very well. That's why
You're
it's a
stating
show.
the obvious.
We disagree to agree to
It's
learn. With nobody, except if you're presenting facts, then you show it to us. But once it's opinion. And we're all entitled to our respective opinions. Please, I should have been out there helping my son prepare for school now. But Roger, you can round off the show for us and also talk about the importance of being open-minded whenever we're on the panel here. It will help the show run smoothly. Don't take anything personal, and you should also avoid languages that will come across as someone as if we're insulting their intelligence or anything. I haven't seen that happen today, to be honest. But you go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, it's been a spirited discussion. As long as we understand that I'm always correct, then we'll be fine, gentlemen. No, but
exactly.
seriously, all joking aside, listen,
Let's go ahead.
the owners, and I mean the owners, Bowley et al., the corporation, they have made mistakes. They've admitted it, but you have to understand, Chelsea was put in a situation, the club itself, based on geopolitical circumstances,
Not footballing issue.
out of the realm of any sporting circumstance. So therefore, Chelsea, we came close to being a non-entity. We were close to actually not existing. So, and that put a huge disadvantage on the club in many ways, whether it's financial and so forth. Now, with the departures of Czech and Marina Granovskaya, the way it was worded means that it was an amicable departure, but one can interpret that in the corporate society as you're being fired and let's just put out a PR. It was very generic. So
yeah, they understand. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
it's generic. It's very corporate, linguistics. But listen, did they come in brash and what have you? Yes. But Bobby's correct. They saw and identified a loophole that occasionally was taken advantage of. Like what's the Man United analyst that's always on Sky? I forget his name. Good Lord, I forgot his name. Sorry. He was offered a 7-year contract.
Gary Neville.
Yeah, Neville. He said I was offered a 7-year contract once. There's multiple people that have had that, but we just did it on a wholesale level. And UEFA, as Bobby's right, in their wisdom said, oi, these chaps have deep pockets and they're able to actually circumvent this loophole. So you know what? We're going to put an end to it. And that's what they did. So you cannot listen right now. It is May the 3rd, 2023, Anno Domini. Guess what? We'll look back on this day and say, you know what? We'll laugh now because all of the players that they took advantage of this loophole, these are long-term projects based on their ceiling, their potential. They weren't based on they're going to come in and win now. So in that regard, just like any business, you have a short, medium, and long-term business plan, and that they're obviously addressing different aspects of the club in that tenure. So I have no problem with that. In fact, I commend them. I guarantee you, any Man United fan would give their firstborn to have owners like ours. I'm serious. Listen, yes, they've made mistakes, but from January, whenever the date is early January, you cannot blame the owners, stakeholders, however you want to put them, as the issue, because of the fact that we have put an infrastructure in place, an executive infrastructure that will be running and has been running the club. So the axe should fall upon their head and no one else's, unless they are being overridden by Bowley or Barley, etc. And if that is the case, then they should tenure their resignation immediately. So listen, the confidence to do with the confidence and to do with what's going forward with this club, only time will tell. And I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. You cannot come in and fix anything overnight. It takes time, possibly multiple seasons. And we have been spoilt, gentlemen. We have been spoilt because we have endured 2 decades of silverware on a consistent basis. 1 a year on average. This is like winning the lottery every year, gentlemen, and that's what we have experienced. So we need to be more patient. This is all I'm saying.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think we'll have to round off now. I've actually gone beyond the time at which I should have. I don't know. Yeah, but that's, by the way, it's been an excellent debate. Tensions are high as usual when we lose game, when we find ourselves in such a bad situations. Usually, hosting the show isn't easy. If it was last night, it would have been even more tense than it is today. And we're all entitled to our opinions, and we should also respect other people's opinion and also give people the time to, pass their points across. Then if you have a counter argument, then you let them hear it. So, thank you so much for everyone in the chat. Constantine Dante, the Bluetooth again. Thanks for the panelists, Bobby, LaFrancis, who was here, JC, Roger Pop, Keshawn, everyone else. Ty was also here. I cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. It's been an exhausting one. Lots of negative stuff in the channel. Lots of some are trying their best to be positive. Lots of finger pointing if one player's a fault or the other, and also lots of misreading, not understanding what people are trying to say, and then jumping to conclusions. They're slandering one player or the other. But I get it. We all have favorite players at the club, and once somebody says something about them, sometimes it gets taken out of context. But thank you guys. See you guys next time.
Coach,
yes.
Thank you for providing the community for us. I appreciate it.
We're all building it together. Hopefully, we continue to grow. So more thanks to you guys for helping being on the panel. I wish JC could turn up even more, but I know he's a businessman and probably always busy. So thank you guys. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.
Bye-bye.